A very happy evening, sir. And to all you guys.
Good evening.
Good evening. Switch on your videos. Be quick. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರೇ ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ
Happy evening. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir. Good evening,
Good e-
sir.
Good evening.
Good evening,
So
sir.
nice to hear all of you all after such a
evening, sir.
long time. All your
Good
PUC
evening, sir.
exams over. Very good. Yeah. Good evening, all of you all. PUC exams over. All of you all did well.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now all set to smash your foundation. So no response only.
Yes,
For
sir.
PUC, yes, sir. Now
Yes, sir.
for all set to smash your foundation. Say yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Yeah, so you're going to get at least 3 ranks now this year. Okay, so now we were going to start off with our revision R2C3, third. This thing.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So let's look at the third revision which we had to do. Last time what we had done is, if you remember, I think so chapter wise we had done question paper questions, right?
Yes, sir.
So this time we are going to do a mock test paper. So we'll look at the mock test paper. Now the important thing which you'll have to understand here is that you all know that the format is that there is one compulsory question of 12 marks and then there are 5 questions of 12 marks each. You have to answer any 4. So actually your paper is on 72 marks, but you have to attempt 60 marks, right? Because 40 marks is business correspondence and English. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All of you all know that, right? Now the first question which is compulsory, generally I think so comes from Contract Act, Sale of Goods Act and Companies Act. Now
Yes,
the
sir.
remaining 4 questions, I think so limited liability partnership comes for 5 marks. I have not seen it coming more than 5 marks. Correct? And
And a
you
7
get
marks of
7 marks. Huh?
Contract Act.
Huh?
7 marks question of Indian Contract Act.
No, with 5 marks of limited
Yes.
liability partnership, right?
Most of the time it's like
Most of the time it's like that. So 7 plus 5, right? And then you have in the middle of these 5 questions, certain questions which are analytical, where they have a case study, and I've told you how to attempt the case study. If you're attempting the case study, that is facts of the case, provisions of the act, analysis and conclusion. I told you FPAC, if you remember, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the question which arises is, how do you choose the compulsory question? You can't do anything. How do you choose the 5 out of those 5 questions, the 4 questions which you have to attempt? Because sometimes the way in which you choose the questions determines whether you will get those 12 marks or you'll lose those 12 marks. So it can actually make a difference of 24 marks. How? So you chose a wrong question and you got like 2 or 3 out of 12. And if you would have chosen the right question and you would have gone at least 10 or 12. So plus 10 minus 10, 20 marks difference, and that can be the difference between actually passing or not clearing your exams, right or no? So whenever you get the questions, please be very confident. If you are confident about the case study, if you know that it belongs exactly to Indian Contract Act, or if you're very, very confident that, okay, this is Companies Act case and I know the provision of the Act, Sale of Goods Act, sir has discussed this case, then attempt those type of questions which are case laws. Am I audible, Chinmay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But if you are not, who said yes, sir, now?
Me and Mehak.
Mehak.
Others are sleeping.
Sleeping. Now, if you're not confident about this act, so what I suggest is attempt all the questions which are theoretical in nature first. Out of those 5, I think so 3 questions will be theoretical, right? 75, 75, 75, or in each of those So attempt the ones which have more of the theoretical part, like what are the essentials of the contract act, etc., and finish that off. Correct or no? And then when you have to choose the last question, fourth and fifth, whichever the ones in which you have a doubt, make a calculated choice. Where you think that the case law is going to get more marks and you think you don't know that, choose the other one with the less marks for case study. Correct or no? So you'll have to be very wise in choosing your answers. Correct or no? Choosing your questions. See, you're choosing your questions in business law is like choosing your husband. Once you, or wife, whatever, once you choose, you're stuck. Correct or no? So you start writing half of it, then you can't leave in the middle. Correct or no? Then you'll find it very difficult. So like how you plan, what Mike? You have to plan carefully which questions you
Choose.
choose. If you choose wrong means plus 10 minus 10. So it becomes a big difference,
Issue.
right or no? So like that. So think as if you're choosing right husband. Okay. So as you're saying, okay, this fellow is good, this fellow is not good, this fellow is too much of story is telling me. I don't like storytellers. I'll go for direct fellow. Correct or no? Understand? So if you are not confident of handling cases, leave that off. Choose the analytical. But don't go and mix and match. Because I've seen some could teach students will mix and match. They'll take 2A and 3B and they'll put it together, 2A and B. And then they'll think they'll get 12 marks. There is choice only between the questions, not in between. Or you'll take 3A and 4B like that. No, that doesn't have work. Correct or no? So it is a little difficult while you're choosing. So while she gets the paper ready, I'll just be back in a minute. I'll just switch on the lights and come. Correct? So just be careful of the way in which you choose the question. Keep the questions ready. Chinmay, have you got the mock test paper ready?
Yes, sir.
Screen, just show it for a minute. I'll just be back in a minute. Just in a minute. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Right? Yeah.
Nice hair, Harshita. Hair alla hairstyle. ಕುತ್ಕೋತೇನೋ ಕೂದ್ಲು ಪ್ರದ್ಯುಮ್ನ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ
ಇಲ್ಲ
ಇರೋ 5 ಕೂದ್ಲು ಅಷ್ಟು ಸೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತಾ ಇದೀಯಾ
ಅದೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀನಿ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very
Okay.
loud, sir.
Loud and clear. So we should now get into the mock test paper. This is called MTT. Correct? It's
Yes,
called
sir.
MTT, no?
MTP,
Or
mock test
MTP.
paper. MTP.
Mock test paper. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now listen here. I hope you'll have all started your studies after your PUC exams and you'll start going with it quite fine. So mercantile law is 60 marks. Business correspondence is 40 marks.
We know that much, sir.
And you all know that from next time onwards, it'll all be MCQs mostly.
Yeah, that's something going
They're
on.
changing
Online
it.
test.
Remove BCR also. It seems.
Huh?
They'll remove BCR and BCK.
What BCR means?
English.
English.
They'll remove English and BCK, and what will they have instead?
Full 100 marks law and economics.
Full 100 marks law and full 100 marks?
Economics, I saw somewhere on YouTube. I don't know.
Yeah. Correct only. Correct. They're reducing the number of subjects. Even in intermediate, they're removing 2 subjects. They're removing 1 subject by 1 subject. They're saying that many people are not clearing the paper, so they want to
Remove.
so they want to strengthen your foundation in law. Okay.
Sir, have you by any chance switched on your video? No.
Have you by any chance not seen me?
No, I have not seen you.
Just put on your specs.
I've put on my specs, otherwise I wouldn't be able to see others also. I'm blind almost.
That's why they tell. 1 minute. Is it all? You're sure you can't see me?
Yeah, now we can see you, only your
Shirt.
yeah, shirt. The head is cut off.
Wait. Let's go on top. Now?
Yeah.
Huh?
Towards your right. Tilt it towards your right.
I have to move this towards my right.
Yes.
But run it this side.
Yeah.
Is it okay
Yeah,
now?
it's fine.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh
Cool.
God. My God, in the morning I did one session and I didn't know that they were seeing only my shirt.
Oh God.
Nobody wanted to
Oh, bad.
nobody wanted to see my face. Nobody said also. That
We
is
wanna
okay.
see your face.
That was okay. But once I went to a college and I was speaking, it was an empty room and all they had kept chairs and I was speaking. After the speech, they said, "Sir, you were facing towards the other side. We could see your back is very good."
Oh God.
So stupid, they are, no?
They're bad people.
Very
Don't
bad.
associate with
Mad people. They saw my back and all. Full. Back to the future. Back to. Okay, now come. MTP.
Yeah. Question 1 is compulsory. Answer any 4 from the remaining 5 questions. So, law you have to attend 5 questions. 1 plus 4.
5 into 12. That is 1 plus 4. 12 marks each.
Yes. First question. Mr. Murthy was traveling to Manali with his wife by bus of Himalaya Travels Private Limited. Due to some technical default in the bus, the driver has to stop the bus in a midway in cold night. The driver advised the passenger to get the shelter in the nearest hotel, which was at a distance of only 1 kilometer from that place. The wife of Mr. Murthy caught cold and fell ill due to being asked to get down, and she had to walk in the cold night to reach hotel. Mr. Murthy filed the suit against Himalaya Travels Private Limited for damage for the personal inconvenience, hotel charges, and medical treatment for his wife. Explain whether Mr. Murthy would get compensation for which he filed the suit.
Remember, this is similar to one case which you had done. Remote causes cannot be a claim for damages. Remember, claim for damages in the Indian Contract Act. We had done this case, no? Somebody had gone to Ooty with somebody.
Yes.
Anybody remembers the name of the case? Okay. Harshita is not there today.
She's sleeping.
I'm there.
Harshita, remember this case? We had done it.
Sir, I remember the students you used, not the name of the case.
I just slipped my mind in. I forgot the name of the case, but it's there, this case. Do you all have the case laws written? Just go to damages. You have it, Harshita, the damages. You have your book or notebook or textbook, wherever people used to write these cases. Anybody used to write it down or no? Notebook or textbook or something?
If to search, sir. Searching.
Who used to write down? Nobody used to write. Okay, but remember, yeah.
Most probably Spurti. I've seen her writing down.
Surti, have you written down this case? This comes under breach of contract damages.
Sir, like I remember only Lipika Vignesh you took example and they do.
Oh my God, you'll remember all the girls and boys and you'll forget the name of those actual people. Lipika and Vignesh had taken for this. Okay. I don't know whom and all I took. Where and all, who got married, who went to honeymoon. Only that you remember. Okay. But remember, this was a case. Okay, let me tell you the importance of the case. Till Chachta finds the name of the case, correct or no? So you'll write the facts of the cases. There was an inconvenience, right? They dropped it because of a technical difficulty. Now, he's claiming for damages for 3 reasons. Inconvenience, for whatever, hotel charges, that is okay. But claiming for the medical treatment of his wife is a remote cause. That cannot be directly assigned to it, because if it was made, everybody who gets down in the rain and walks for 1 kilometer, everybody would have got sick at that particular. That is a deficiency of our immunity system. It is not the deficiency of the railway. So he can claim damages only for personal inconvenience, but he cannot claim damages for medical treatment. Did you find the name of the case or should I find it?
I think so.
Okay, Alan, do you want me to do it? Okay, wait. It'll take a second or so. Will I go through it, Chinmay, or we'll just go to the next one? You want to read the answer? Chinmay?
I don't know. Should I read the answer? Others, I'll read it.
Wait. Your voice is breaking, Chinmay. We can't hear you. Just, can you come back online? Where is she? Is she there? Is Chinmay there or she logged out?
Sir, I think she's there, but we can't hear her clearly.
Huh?
So she's there, but we can't hear her clearly.
We can't hear her. She's there.
She's there.
Chinmay, can you speak again? Oh, this is the Bulbulaya 2.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Back to normal. Okay, you returned. Okay, very good. We were seeing your voice was sounding like that ghost from that remote area. It will come, no? Remote causes. Okay, you can read out the answer if you want. Otherwise, you can move on. Just quickly, Chinmay.
We'll read out.
Yeah.
Section 73 of the Indian Contract Act of 1872 provides that when a contract has been broken, the party who suffers such breach is entitled to receive from the party who has broken the contract compensation for any loss or damage caused to him thereby, which naturally arose in the usual course of things from such breach.
Naturally arose or usually occurs. Okay, continue.
Or which the parties knew when they made the contract to be likely to result from the breach of it. But such compensation is not to be given for any remote. And indirect loss or damage sustained by reason of the breach. In the instant case, Mr. Murthy filed the suit against Himalaya Travels Private Limited for damages for the personal inconvenience, hotel charges, and medical treatment for his wife. On the basis of the above provisions and the facts of the case, it can be said that Mr.
Again, your voice is breaking.
He can claim damages for the personal inconvenience. Yeah, now can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. You're using headphones or no?
I'm using the earphones.
Okay, good. Okay.
I don't know, something should be wrong.
Yeah, now it's okay. This is the correct thing.
Okay.
You just started something. Now it's correct. Yeah. He can claim damages for the personal inconvenience
and hotel charges, but not for the medical treatment for his wife because it is a remote or indirect loss.
Immediately what I told you, correct or no? But the name of the case we stupidly forgot, which I also forgot, which I stupidly have forgotten, but I will let you all know that. And I'm very surprised that you all haven't written this down. We had done lots of cases like this, correct or no? And this was one of the cases for remote cause. Okay. Just if you give me 1 minute, I will give you the name of the case. Yeah, you found it?
Hardly use it, Baxendale.
Who?
Sir,
That is special damages and
It was ordinary damage.
ordinary and special. Who told Hadley versus Baxendale?
Not me, sir.
Hey,
That's you only. Who was that? Not
Hadley
me.
versus Baxendale and all, it seems.
sir, is
Please.
it Hobbs Southern London Southern West Railway Company?
That is the case. That's the case. What is it? What is?
Hobbs versus
Hobbs
London Southern
versus
West
London
Railway
Southern West Railway. That is the case. Mr. and Mrs. Hobbs. Correct. Please type the name of the case and the
Harshita
section.
Bhatt.
You
Oh,
who found it?
Me.
Who found the case? Harshita.
Lipika.
Litvika, please type out the name of the case.
Chat box only.
Chat box. This is the case. This is the case. So if you write the facts of the case, then you write provisions of the Act, section 73, and you mention this is similar to the case of Hobbs versus Southern West Railway, then they'll feel so happy. Correct or no?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Okay. 1B.
Hmm.
Rohan incorporated a
How many marks was that?
It was for 4 marks.
Okay.
I think the answer was a little short according to the 4 marks theory.
Okay. Okay, whatever.
You can write extra if you can.
Because you will be writing anyway in 4 points. No facts, provision, analysis, conclusion.
Yeah.
One mark you'll get. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rohan incorporated a one-person company. This company question is
This
from Mehul sir.
Mehul sir will do.
Yes.
How many marks is that? 4, huh?
4 marks. The 1C is from Sale of Goods Act of 1930. A breach of a condition can be treated as a breach of warranty. Explain the statement as per relevant provisions of the Sale of Goods Act of 1930 for 4 marks.
Okay. So remember that this you all have learnt. You all want to go through it. Breach of condition is treated as a breach of warranty. You remember under circumstances when there is a waiver, correct or no? When
And the buyer altogether waives the performance of the condition. It should be a voluntary waiver for by buyer, where the buyer elects to treat the breach of contract as one of his condition as one of his warranty. Then where the contract is non-severable and the buyer has accepted either the whole goods or any part thereof, where the fulfillment of any condition or warranty is excused by law by reason of impossibility or otherwise.
That's all. So remember, all this will come under. So these are the 4. So they've given 4 or 5 points. You write all the 4 points. Don't forget to write the opening, body, and conclusion. Okay. So these are the other things. So 4, 4, 4. So remember, these first mock test paper, generally it will be in this format only. So 8 marks will be from, say, 4 marks will be from Contract Act, 4 from Sale of Goods, and 4 from
Companies.
Companies. So this is the compulsory part. Now comes the
second question. 2A. Explain the term contingent contract with reference to the Indian Contract Act of 1872 with the help of an example. Also discuss the rules relating to enforcement of a contingent contract. 7 marks question.
Oh, this is a big one. Okay. And what's the next question after this? 2B is? Oh, your voice broke.
Liability partnership. LLP.
So this is generally LLP is 5 marks. So LLP and Contract Act will come with together. And there won't be more than one LLP question for 5 marks. So if you all are very smart, you all can attempt this question because these are direct question. You can read it out. Yeah. You can read the point.
Read the answer. Okay.
Yeah, read the answer.
Definition of contingent contract is in section 31 of the Indian Contract Act of 1872. A contract to do or not to do something if some event collateral to such contract does or does not happen. Example, A contracts to pay B rupees 1 lakh if B's house is burnt. This is a contingent contract. Rules relating to enforcement. The rules are laid down in the section 32, 33, 34, 35, 36 of the Act. So the points are enforcement of contracts contingent on an event happening.
Okay, now please be careful when you're attempting this question because they've said rules for contingent contract, and some of y'all will write the features of contingent contract. So that is not. This is specifically mentioned enforcement of the contract. So you all shouldn't write contingent contract is based on an event now happening or not happening. The event must be collateral. Those are the features. You write that 0. You will get only 2 marks for the definition and the remaining will become 2, 0. So you have to be careful. Read the question once and see these are the
Yeah.
Hmm.
Contingent on an impossible event, contingent on specified time, specified event on not happening within fixed time, contingent on happening on specified event within the fixed time. A contract would cease to be enforceable if it is contingent upon the conduct of a living person when that living person does something to make the event or conduct as impossible or happen.
So this is the
6 points.
6 points. 6 points plus 1 mark for definition, so 7 points.
Yes.
So you will get 7
Next.
marks for this. Okay, so next. Okay, so 7 marks done. So totally we have seen there are 11 marks which have come from Contract Act and 4 marks from Sale of Goods Act, 15 marks. Okay.
Yes. 3A is from Indian Partnership Act.
How many marks?
3. It's for 3 plus 3, 6 marks.
Okay.
And
now
3B is from Indian Contract Act of 1872.
Oh.
So couple went to a departmental store to purchase a steel pan. He asked the salesman about the area in departmental store where steel pans are kept. The salesman indicated him the area with instructions that sorry, this is something messed up. The salesman indicated the area using instructions to where the steel pans are. Other
mats, what is it? M-A-T?
Pan.
PN, okay, pan, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Where they make
Pancake
chapatis,
pan. Pancake pan.
Okay.
Okay. Other metal pans were also kept. Couple wrongfully picked up an aluminum pan in place of a steel pan. The salesman watched but said nothing to couple. Couple reached his house and found that the pan was not a steel pan but actually an aluminum pan. Couple filed a suit against the departmental store for fraud. Discuss whether couple was eligible to file suit for fraud against departmental store under the Indian Contract Act of 1872.
Okay, close the answer and let's see if anybody can tell me the answer for this. Now attempt this question only if you are sure. So if you're not sure, in the exam skip it. Now you can answer. Now bindas. Nobody is going to give you marks.
So Kapil won't get any damages. He can't fight this. I mean, he has.
Don't you think the person who set this paper is too much into couples and all? First also he said about
No, sir, Kapil.
Sir, Kapil Dev, Kapil Sharma, Kapil.
Okay, like that couple. I thought one more couple. Okay.
Not couple,
now,
Kapil.
Okay. Now what do you think? He won't get any damages. Why?
Sir, he did not rely upon the seller's knowledge to buy the aluminium, to buy the steel pan.
Okay. Now
he thought that he was only great and bought the steel pan. Then he went home, wife scolded, saying that it's an aluminum pan. So he doesn't get any.
And was it a unilateral mistake or a bilateral mistake?
Bilateral mistake.
Unilateral. No.
Sir, the salesman, whoever was that, so he saw and kept quiet.
He kept quiet, but silence is not fraud, no?
Yeah.
They've told fraud. This is a fraud. Silence is not fraud. Remember the rule, caveat emptor. Buyer, beware. He did not rely on the judgment of the buyer. And secondly, it was a unilateral mistake, right? So remember, I had done that case where that person picked up a wrong painting and then he went and he said, okay, that this painting is made of from some other person. Then it's the seller's, it's not the seller's mistake, it's the buyer's mistake. So, and they have specifically asked Indian Contract Act, right? Fraud, right?
Yes.
Correct. So this is a unilateral mistake. This is not a bilateral mistake. Is both of them make a mistake. Like for example, Harshita is telling I'm selling my red car and you think she's selling her white car. Then both of you are on a mistake. The contract becomes null and void. But this is a valid contract. This is a valid contract and he cannot claim any damages. Okay, you can read the answer of this.
Yes, sir. I'll read out the answer. Is my screen shared? No, I believe. Okay. I'm only answering.
Okay, you just read it off if you can't share.
No, I shared the screen. Section 17 of the Indian Contract Act of 1872 defines fraud. According to the section, fraud means and includes any of the following acts committed by a party to a contract or by his agent with intent to deceive or to induce a person to enter into the contract. First, the suggestion as a fact of that which is not true by one who does not believe it to be true. Second, the active concealment of a fact by one having knowledge or belief of the fact. Third, a promise made without any intent of performing it. Fourth, any other act fitted to deceive. Fifth, any such act or omission as the law specifically declares to be fraudulent. It was also explained that mere silence is not fraud. Silence amounts to fraud where there is duty to speak or where the silence is equivalent to speech. On the basis of provisions of Section 17 and the facts given above, it was not the duty of the salesman to inform Mr. Kapil about his mistake. Hence, there was no fraud and Kapil was not eligible to file suit for fraud against the departmental store under Indian Contract Act of 1872.
So this is, he cannot get any compensation. He'll have to
Yes.
cook with his aluminium pan. Okay, and you can add one thing. They have mentioned only about fraud because they've asked whether it's a fraud because he sued him for fraud. But you can also write unilateral mistakes do not make a contract null and void. You can add that
Void.
section to it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Fourth A, discuss the rights of an unpaid seller against the buyer under the Sale of Goods Act of 1930
direct question.
for
Direct
6
question.
marks.
6 marks. Okay, direct question. What are the rights of an unpaid
Seller.
Remember, if you draw a diagram over here, it will be good. Remember, they had given a chart in your textbook. Rights against the buyer, rights against the goods. Yes or no? Again, rights
Yes,
against
sir.
the goods, you have right of lien, right of stoppage in transit. Correct or no? Right to resell.
Yes, sir.
Then against right against the buyer, you have right to sue for price, right to sue for damages. Correct or no?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So please draw the, when you draw the diagram at the first look, see that person will say, oh my God, she knows the answer. She's drawn the chart. Then the explanation becomes very perfunctory because they have to also collect hundreds of papers every day. So when they know that this person has already got the diagram in place, the chance of you getting marks will be much. Have they drawn the diagram in the answer?
No, sir, they're not.
They have not drawn, but you draw. Correct or no?
Yes.
Got it? Now she'll read out the answer.
Okay.
You all can see that diagram in your textbook. It's there in your rights of unpaid seller, the last unit of sale of goods.
Act.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
The rights against the buyer are as follows. Suit for price. Section 55 of the Sale of Goods Act of 1930. Where next is suit for damage. I'm just reading the heading. You can
Please.
explain it.
Yeah, you can read it.
Yeah. Suit for damages for non-acceptance, Section 56. Repudiation of a contract before due date, Section 60. Suit for interest, Section 61. Next is a question 4B, a question from Partnership Act for 6 months.
Okay.
After that is question 5. 5A is from Sale of Goods Act. Sohan is a trader in selling of wheat. Vinod comes to his shop and asks Sohan to sell him, to show him some good quality wheat. Vinod is satisfied with the quality of wheat. Sohan agrees to sell 100 bags of wheat to Vinod on 10th June 2021. The delivery of wheat and the payment was to be made in the next 3 months, that is by 10 September 2021 by Vinod. Before the goods were delivered to Vinod, Sohan gets another customer, Vikram, in his shop who is ready to pay a higher price for the wheat. Sohan sells the goods to Vinod, which were already lying in possession even after sale, to Vikram. Vikram has no knowledge that Sohan is not the owner of goods. With reference to Sale of Goods Act of 1930, discuss if such a sale made by Sohan to Vikram is a valid sale.
Can you read it again? It was so confusing. I would have left out this question.
Okay, I'll read that slowly.
Slowly, that's Mohan. How many people are there? Sohan and Vikram.
Sohan, Vinod, and Vikram.
Okay, so SBB. SB Balasubramanian. Okay.
SBB.
V. Okay, not Vinod. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Sohad bin.
V.
God.
No, Binmay. I'm sorry, Chinmay.
Yeah, exactly. So,
hey, Barshita.
Sohan, Vinod, and Vikram.
SBV.
Why do they give such confusing names? Can't they just say ABC?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. They want to confuse you. Thank God they didn't say Sohan Agarwal, Binod Chakravarti, and Vikram
Oh God.
Solanki. Then it would have been even more interesting. With surnames and all. With surnames.
Sohan is a trader in selling of wheat. So
Okay, that's
Sohan
a
is the
trader.
trader.
Sohan is the trader. He's selling wheat. Okay.
Yeah. Binod comes to his shop and asks Sohan to sell good quality wheat. He sells. Sohan agrees to sell 100 bags of wheat to Binod on 10th June 2021.
Agrees to sell.
Agrees to sell, not sell.
Okay.
The delivery of the wheat and payment was to be made in next 3 months, that is by 10th September 2021 by Binod.
By Binod, okay.
Yes. Before the goods are delivered to Binod, Sohan gets another customer, Vikram. And Vikram is ready to pay higher price for the wheat.
Oh.
Sohan sells the goods to Binod, which were lying in his possession even after the sale.
Sohan sells it to Binod again.
Yeah, no, he has already sold the goods to Binod. This is...
No, he sells the goods of Binod to Vikram.
Okay.
It was meant for Binod, but he sold it to Vikram.
Okay. Now I got it. That's why I got confused. Okay. Sohan sells, read Chinmay. These are the most...
Sohan sells the goods of Binod, which were already lying in his possession even after sale, to Vikram.
Okay.
Vikram has no knowledge that Sohan is not the owner of the goods.
Okay.
With reference to Sale of Goods Act of 1930, discuss if such a sale made by Sohan to Vikram is a valid sale.
Okay, now remember we did this when we were doing the Sale of Goods Act, when we did sale by a non-owner. There was a topic, sale by a non-owner, and then we did exceptions of a sale by a non-owner. Yeah, in that one of the conditions was, the exception was, the person who's buying the goods will get a good title if the goods are lying in the possession of the seller, correct? And the buyer acts in good faith. The buyer acts in good faith. So even though here Binod is the owner, Vikram will get a good title. The only thing Binod can do is file a case against Sohan for damages, what he can claim. But he cannot claim back the goods from
Vikram.
Remember, this is sale by a non-owner. This is sale by a non-owner. Correct or no? This we did in the transfer of property, right? When we did the chapter in Sale of Goods Act, right? Yeah. Now she'll read out the answer. So you'll again have to mention the facts of the case, provisions of the act, correct? Analysis, and give a conclusion, correct? I already told you, please write down the case section numbers and in a separate notebook, so that at a glance you can come to know which section is what. But don't bluff the sections. Don't bluff the... Okay, continue.
Section.
Don't bluff the sections. If you don't know the section, you write as this is a sale by a non-owner, as for the Indian, as for the Sale of Goods Act. At least you know the Sale of Goods Act, right? Okay. Correct?
Sir? Yeah. In cases where the provisions of the Indian Contract Act as well as the Sale of Goods Act applies, what do we do, sir? If they don't mention which act we have?
Yeah, if they don't mention which act, you can actually see the question which they ask. So see, in the previous case where it was that pan thing, couple's pan, remember the steel pan?
Yes,
right?
Sir.
So if you read the question properly, they had asked, he sued him for fraud. So that comes under the Indian Contract Act, correct or no? Right?
Yes.
And in case you can read the Indian Contract Act, read with the Sale of Goods Act, you can mention. Because see, whenever a person files a case in the court, right, even if you tomorrow become a lawyer, Harshita, if two acts are supporting your argument, you can mention both the acts, section 31 of this act as section 24 of this act are ruling in my favor. Understand or no? So there's nothing harm. But if you see these questions, when they ask the question, you will definitely come to know whether they are
which act they want us
which act they want you to
right.
Correct or no?
Yes.
But as an afterthought, you can always read with this, right? So in actual practice, people file cases with multiple acts. With multiple?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should I read the answer or no?
Yeah, please. All these cases you should read. Only the answers which are direct questions, they can read on their own. But these cases, they'll get an idea, right?
Yeah.
How to write the answer. So that is important. That's why we're going through the papers, right?
Yeah. The given question deals with the rule related to transfer of title of goods. Section 27 of the Sale of Goods Act of 1930 specify the general rule. No man can sell the goods and give a good title unless he is the owner of the goods. The Latin maxim.
Nemo dat quod non habat. Remember, I told you cannot sell what you do not own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the exceptions is given in section 30, subsection 1 of Sale of Goods Act of 1930, wherein the sale by seller in possession of the goods, even after sale is made, is held to be valid. The following conditions are satisfied. Then it amounts to a valid sale, although the seller is no more the owner of the goods after sale. A seller has possession of goods after sale. Second, with the consent of the other party, that is the buyer. Third, the seller sells goods already sold to a new buyer. Fourth, the new buyer acts in good faith.
Good faith.
Fifth, the new buyer has no knowledge that the seller has no authority to sell. In the given question, the seller Sohan has agreed to sell the goods to Binod, but delivery of the goods is still pending. Hence, Sohan is in possession of goods and is with the consent of, and this is with the consent of the buyer, that is Binod. Now, Sohan sells these goods to Vikram, the new buyer. Vikram is buying the goods in good faith and also has no knowledge that Sohan is no longer the owner of the goods. Hence, since all above conditions given under section 30 subsection 1 of the Sale of Goods Act 1930 are satisfied, therefore the sale made by Sohan to Vikram is a valid sale even if Sohan is no longer the owner of the goods.
I told you. So this is how clearly they've explained it, okay? In the analysis and conclusion, right? So you have to write it. For each, the thumb rule is, I think so, for a 4-mark question, I think so, it should be at least one side, right? For a 6-mark question, at least 1.5 sides, right? In normal handwriting. In normal handwriting. Okay, keep this in mind. But don't overdo it in the sense that will they give you the English paper and the mercantile law paper together, right?
Yes, sir.
So what do you attempt first? The English paper is easier. You want to finish that, or then you do the law, or what? How does it work? You can attempt anything, right?
Yes, sir. You can attempt anything.
Okay. Okay.
I prefer attempting law first.
Yeah. Some people prefer finishing off. You'll have 3 hours, right? Or how many hours?
Yes, 3 hours.
3 hours.
So might be 1 hour you can finish off English. No.
Yeah.
So 60-40, right? So if you can finish off English in 1 hour, and then 2 hours you have for law. But it all depends. It depends on your preferences, correct or no?
Yes.
Wherever you think you're more confident, attempt that first. So at least you'll be assured of that many marks, right?
Yes.
That's the name of the game. If you think you're very good at English and you can get 30-35, finish off that. Then you will just need around 30-40 marks to pass in, 20-30 marks to pass in law. Yeah. Yeah.
Fifth B is from Indian Companies Act of 2013.
Okay.
Next 6A is from Indian Contract Act. Yes. Explain what is meant by supervening impossibility as per the Indian Contract Act of 1872 with the help of an example. What is the effect of such impossibility?
Okay. So they've not given any question from the earlier parts. They've not given anything from consideration, offer and acceptance and all. They're given all from the later part of the Indian Contract
Act.
Fraud, supervening impossibility. Okay. You all know what is supervening impossibility, right?
Yes, sir.
Anything
Yes,
which
sir.
becomes impossible after you've entered into the You have entered into contract to hire a hall, and subsequently the hall gets burned down. Now it's impossible for him to rent out the hall to you for a music concert. Remember we did? Correct? Taylor versus Caldwell. Correct? So it becomes a supervening impossibility. So any impossibility of performance after the contract. Yeah. Yes. Correct or no? Yeah. You can continue reading. You can want to read out the headings at least? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll read out the headings.
Yeah.
1 minute. Right. Okay. According to Section 56 of the Indian Contract Act of 1872, the impossibility of performance may be of two types, namely initial impossibility and
supervening.
It becomes impossible after entering into the contract. Example, A and B contracted to marry each other, but before the time fixed for marriage, A became mad. In this case, the contract effect of impossibility. The effect of such impossibility is that it makes the contract void and the parties are discharged from further performance of the contract. Yes.
Okay.
It's done.
That's all. How many marks is this?
This is for 4 marks, 5 marks. Sorry.
I think so. They've written a very short answer. You should give more examples and cases.
Yeah, I also felt it.
I thought this was very short.
Very short.
Yeah. Okay, I think so. You should write a little more. What are the cases under supervening impossibility? Correct or no? So you should write more. Give a few more examples.
Yes,
correct
sir.
or no? And make it a little more bulkier,
Yes,
this
sir.
answer. Otherwise, it doesn't carry much weight. Correct? If you write this answer for 5 marks, they'll give you only 2 or 3. Okay. The last question, 6B. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chinmay
Yeah.
is breaking off, right? I think so. There is some
Am I
problem with
audible?
the, yeah, but even when you're reading out, there is a little bit of breaking here and there. I don't know. Is there a connection issue? Is it raining or something near your house?
No rain, sir, but I don't know what's
Might
the
be there.
problem.
Might be the wire is a little loose or something like that, right? Or something. Did you all also feel that she was breaking, or was it only for me?
It was breaking, sir.
It was.
It's breaking. Okay. I thought I have a problem with my side. That's why I asked. Okay. Continue reading, Chinmay.
The 6th pack and 6C is from Companies Act.
6B is from which act?
So we're done with the question paper. Companies Act.
Okay. Chinmay, you better I don't know. Okay, 6C. Okay, so let's go through the entire. How many marks was the 6B was from the Companies Act? Was 7 marks, right?
No, sir. 6B is from Indian Partnership Act for 4 marks and 3 marks from Companies Act. 6C.
Okay, so now let's see which one will you attempt. Now, in case of this one, see this last question 6 A, B, C, all are direct questions, right?
Yes, sir.
There is no case law, right?
There's case law in the last question, ABC.
Okay, that's only 3 marks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and in the 5th question, is there a case law?
5th question.
5th.
Or 5th, no. 1 minute.
This one was the number 6, no, which you read. Or you will let's go from the. You
Yeah,
want to
go
go from the
start.
beginning. To go from the start. So 1 is you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Now,
From 2nd question is both is just writing the points. Contingent contract and LLP benefit.
So please always attempt this one. LLP will always come for 5 marks with Contract Act.
Yes.
So this one should be a guaranteed one which you will attempt. Okay, so this is done. Now 3rd question
is Partnership Act direct question. Then Indian Contract Act case study.
Now you will have to make a choice. If you know whether it's a thing, you attempt this. But if you don't know, you all can choose between this. Correct or no? So 2 questions are done. You have 3 more to go. We'll see. Then the 4th question.
Discuss rights of an unpaid seller. So direct question, 1 direct and the other is from Partnership Act And it is a case study.
Case study. So every question will have some case study.
Yes, sir.
Now, in case you're stuck with a case study and you'll think you don't know much about it, then choose the one which has the lowest marks for case study. So if you see in question 6, it was only 3 marks case study, right? So anyway, you can get 9 marks over there, right?
Yes, sir.
Correct or no? So in case you're stuck over there, means you have to attempt a case study, you will attempt it, right? Because otherwise every question has a case
study.
Correct or no? But
Yes,
then in those situations, first, if you're confident about the case, attempt it. Now, if you're not confident about any of the cases, attempt that question which has the least marks for case study and do it. Okay? Because at least you'll get some marks over there. Then, so you can attempt 1 compulsory, 2 and 6 you can do, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, 3, 4, 5, you'll have to choose any 2 where you are confident. What's the next one?
I'll read out 4 or 5, sir.
Read out 4. What was it? 4 was how many marks were the...
Okay. 4th one is for 6 and 6. That is rights of an unpaid seller and partnership act.
Case study.
Yeah.
Then
5th one was that Sohan trader 6 marks.
That was the confusing one. Yeah.
And one more was companies, Ultravires, Doctrine of Ultravires.
Okay. That is also 6 and 6.
6 and 6. Sixth question was 5, 4, 3.
3, yeah, that's also. Now you'll have to take a choice. If you understood that so on case, do it. Otherwise, just leave that of that question and do the remaining. Because it took me some time to understand that case. Correct or no?
Yes, sir.
Effects of a non-paid seller. So see these things, and this is the mock test paper. So you'll got it. Now just count how many marks are from each chapter. Chennai. For Indian Contract Act, okay. Including the question, including the compulsory.
Yeah. First question 4 marks. Second question 7 marks.
11
marks. Plus 6 marks in third question.
17.
17. Yes. 17 plus 5 marks in the 6th question.
22.
22 marks.
And Sale of Goods Act, just check it out.
Okay. Sale of Goods Act, 6 marks in 5th question. And 4th question, 6 marks, 12 marks.
That's all.
And first question, 4 marks. 16.
16. So 22 plus 16. So around 38 marks. 38 out of 60 is done.
Yes.
Okay. And the remaining is Companies Act. Just see how many marks is for companies, and Companies Act is important. So if you know these 3 acts itself, anyway, limited liability will always come for 5 marks. So you take out that 5 marks, so 43. And then you have the remaining split between partnership and
companies.
Okay. So keep these things in mind, correct or no?
Yes.
And we are seeing this as a holistic 72 marks, okay? So remember, when you're seeing, we are seeing 43 out of this, it's out of 72, it's not out of 60.
Yes, sir.
Because we are taking 6 into 12, correct? 6 questions into
12.
But in every question, either there is a partnership or there is, either there is a sale of goods or there's a contract. Right from 1 to 6, right?
Yes, sir.
So you'll have to be a little careful. This is just the mock test paper. It doesn't mean generally they give a little bit similar to the mock test paper, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We still have time, sir. So can we do the RTP also?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Since we have time, we'll do the RTP.
We have.
We have a lot of time. I'll just come back. I'll just see if my mom has come. I'll open the door and come. Just hold on. Okay. Just 1 minute. I'll be back and we'll do the RTP. Right.
Okay, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we are going to the RTP now. So you'll understood the mock test paper and how you'll have to answer the questions. We'll go to the RTP, and then your exam is on June 20th, huh?
24th. 24th. To be precise, 26th. Law
Okay,
exam.
now you'll start on June 24th. Which one? Accounts, huh?
Yes.
Accounts on June 24th. Then
26th is paper 2 law.
And English. Okay.
English.
Then
Paper 3 is on 28th. 30th is our last exam. Paper 4, economics.
And BCK.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So you'll have one day gap. That time again you'll have a session R2R, no?
R2R.
R2R.
To relax.
Okay. This is refresh to study.
No, this is revision to cherish.
Revision to cherish. Okay. R2C. Okay. But how your dad came out with these names, which he knew that fellow was making that RRR? Huh?
No, probably
Rajamouli.
RRR. Who did RRR knew we were doing.
Yeah, we ought to see R2R. That and the names are also very good. RRR. What does RRR stand? Raudram, Ranam, Rudiram. So this is Raudram, R2C. Then before the exam, Rudram. And then in the exam, it's a Ranam, fight, no war. Correct or no? Excellent. Nice connection. No? See, Rajamouli. That's what. See, you should start directing movies now. Come, we'll go to RTP. This is also R only. RTP. Correct.
Revision test paper. Okay. A enters into a contract. There's a dog barking. Whoever is.
It's in my house, behind in my area. So don't worry about the dogs in my area. Yeah. Correct.
A enters into a contract with B that A sells his house for rupees 10 lakh to B. Further, they both signed an agreement that if B uses the house for gambling purposes, then B shall pay A 50,000 rupees for it. B agreed to this. However, after a year of sale, B started gambling business in that house. Can A claim 50,000 from B? Discuss with reference to the provisions of the Indian Contract Act of 1872.
Guys, how many marks?
There's no marks given.
Okay, but remember, entering into a contract for an illegal, entering into a contract for an illegal agreement makes the contract. Is he's taken the whole house for gambling or what? What is that thing? I didn't understand. Yeah. So will it be valid? Can he claim 50,000? Huh?
Void.
Void, because it is null and void. So you'll have to mention any illegal agreement is null and void, and gambling is illegal. So it will be considered null and void. And agreement supporting an illegal agreement is also null. They might change the question. Let me change the question a little bit now. A tells B that you can take a house on rent. The ground floor you can use for your residence, and the top floor you can use for gambling. For ground floor you pay me, and the house is equal in area. Okay, and then he starts gambling on top. Then how much can he claim?
He can't claim anything because it's related contract, sir.
No. If you can separate the legal part and the illegal part, the legal part is valid and the illegal part is null and. So he can claim 25,000 as rent, but he cannot claim the remaining 25 because I said it's equal in. Did you get what I'm trying to tell you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Chinmay will read the answer.
Let them read the answer on their own, sir.
Okay, please read the answer on your own. On your own. Okay.
Just discuss the question. And
we'll just discuss the question. Read the answer on your own. Apna Hath Jagannath. Apna Hath Jagannath is a saying in Hindi, means your hand is like God. So you have to take responsibility for your own life. You have to take responsibility. Why are you laughing? How did you all found it so funny or what?
Pradyumna just found it very funny.
Yeah,
so he broke into laughter, and looking at him laughed.
Who broke into laughter?
Pradyumna
is a bloody naughty fellow. He thinks other things. I am telling you, your hand is like God, Apna Jagannath. He was thinking something and all. And then he suddenly broke into laughter. I know. Pradyumna is on full.
No, sir.
Dirty fellow.
Dirty
No,
fellow.
no.
Anyway, your hand is your God only, Pradyumna. You go, continue. Your hand is your God. Please take responsibility. Okay, now go to the second question. 1B.
No, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, like that. Okay, how many questions are like that?
There are 10 questions, 5 questions from Indian Contract Act, 5 questions from Sale of Goods Act.
Very good. Question 2.
Seema was running a boutique in New Delhi. She has to deliver some cloth to her friend, Kiran, who was putting up an exhibition at Mumbai. Seema delivered the sewing machine and some cloth to a railway company to be delivered at a place where the exhibition was to be held. Seema expected to earn an exceptional profit from the sales made at his exhibition. However, she did not bring this fact to the notice of the railway authorities. The goods were delivered at the place after the conclusion of the exhibition. On account of such breach of contract by railway authority, can Seema recover the loss of profits under the Indian Contract Act of 1872?
She can recover only loss of normal profit. She cannot recover exceptional
profit.
Hadley versus Baxendale. Somebody had told in the beginning. This is similar to Hadley versus
Baxendale.
If she had conveyed to the railway authority that she's going to suffer an exceptional loss and then they wouldn't have delivered it, she could have claimed. But since she didn't convey, she can only claim normal loss. So she can only claim
normal loss.
She cannot claim abnormal or exceptional profits. Correct or no?
Yes.
Okay. And you have to write it similar to Hadley versus Baxendale. Third question.
Everybody please switch on your videos.
Everybody.
There's no use saving the data anyway because you can't watch anything right now or after the class because you are having exams and you are supposed to be studying.
OTT. Don't do binge watching and all. Panchayat 1,
yeah,
2
you cannot binge watch anything anywhere.
Who is binge watching nowadays?
I don't believe anybody. Whoever is stupid is doing it probably.
Anybody who's binge watching YouTube videos of CA Foundation and all. No. Why are you laughing?
I'll be surprised if they say they have done every chapter and every problem. You are talking about binge watching CA videos.
CA videos. Have they watched anything? Do you all watch? Anybody watches CA videos? Or I'll just read?
Just study.
In case you all want to see some good videos, you can just they have those recorded videos, no? Chinmay, they have access to them, or it gets deleted, no? The YouTube videos of what we taught and all.
Apps videos. No.
Okay.
I think, sir.
They
don't have the access for it because.
Okay. I just wanted to know. But they can see. Means in case you want to see something here and there, if you want clarity, you read your book. You can always email me or. Yeah. Next question.
Okay. Chandan was suffering from some disease and was in great pain.
Oh.
He went to doctor.
No.
He went to
He's
doctor.
There. He's come today, I think.
Chandan.
Hi. Are you there?
There's no Chandan in the class, unfortunately. There's a Chandana.
Oh, Chandana. Chandana, you're okay, no?
Yeah, she's okay.
She's okay. No pain. Okay.
She'll start crying if you ask more now. She's very sweet.
Okay.
She's a very sweet girl.
Chandana?
Yes, sir.
You're studying properly?
Yes, sir.
Study properly and get good marks in all the subjects, okay? I want to see in intermediate.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now go on.
Chandan was suffering from some disease and was in great pain. He went to Dr. Jhunjhunwala, whose consultation fee was 300 rupees. The doctor agreed to treat him, but on the condition that Chandan had to sign a promissory note of rupees 5,000 payable to doctor. Chandan signed the promissory note and gave it to doctor. On recovering from the disease, Chandan refused to honor the promissory note. Stated with reasons, can doctor recover the amount of promissory note under the provisions of the Indian Contract Act of 1872?
Undue influence. Taking undue influence when a person is in a physical or mental distress. Correct or no? Remember, there are 4 ways of undue influence, right? Which I told you. When there is a fiduciary relationship, correct? When there is a person who's under physical or mental stress. Here, Chandan was in physical stress, and under that stress, the doctor took advantage of his situation and entered into a contract which is unconscionable. Why is it unconscionable? Because the fees are 300 and he's charging him
5,000.
5,000. So the case becomes null and void. I mean, it becomes voidable at the option of Chandan due to undue influence or due to
Undue influence.
Undue influence.
So this will be undue influence. So just go through this undue influence. Remember, and you can mention 1 or 2 cases also. This is Sher Singh versus Preeti Singh was there, which was similar, where that niece took advantage of that man who had become old, correct or no? And we had done Rani Annapurni Devi versus Swaminathan, Manu Singh versus Umadat Pandey, all those, any one of the cases. You mentioned one of these cases, Sher Singh versus Preeti Singh seems convenient for this. Okay, go to the next one. Next question, Chinmay.
Yes, sir. Going to the next one. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we could hear you before also. Yeah.
Oh, you could hear me. Okay.
We could hear you.
Then why is this Pradyumna laughing like an idiot?
I think so. He's fallen in love with you.
Sir.
Pradyumna, you fallen in love or something.
Oh, sir.
You're full laughing and all. You're seeing for you're seeing her and you're laughing. You're seeing and you're laughing. Hasa to fasa.
No.
There was a saying in Hindi. Hasa to fasa means if you laugh, you're caught. Like that fish, no? When you laugh, no, that fish will laugh. It'll open its mouth and it'll catch that hook. Then Chinmay will pull out that hook and she'll throw you on the ground. She's from Mangalore anywhere. She'll fish you and she'll throw you off. She'll fish.
I don't like fish.
The last part, I'll agree, sir. Pulling and throwing to the ground is agreeable, but
pulling and throwing and all is agreeable. He wants you to. He wants you to.
No, not want. Right.
Why do you even talk, Pradyumna? Just shut it.
Like, I love this. Chinmay, concentrate. After exam, you talk to her. We'll arrange one place where she'll pull you and throw you. We'll see it live. Instagram reels.
More like
the chin pull show.
Moving on, Mr. Asim is a learned advocate. His car was stolen from his house. He gave an advertisement in newspaper that he will reward the person 10,000 rupees who will give the information about his car. Mr. Vikram reads the advertisement and on making some efforts got the stolen car and informed Mr. Asim. Mr. Asim found his car but denied giving the reward of 10,000 rupees to Mr. Vikram with the words, an advertisement in newspaper is just an invitation to make an offer and not an offer. Hence, he is not liable to make the reward. State with reasons whether under Indian Contract Act of 1872, Mr. Vikram can claim the reward of rupees 10,000.
He can, because this is a general offer, an offer made to the world at large. Remember Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company?
Yes, sir.
Limited. But if he wouldn't have read the advertisement and found the car, then it would have been Lalman Shukla versus Gauri Dutt. Remember?
Yeah.
You cannot accept an offer without getting an invitation for it. And now an acceptance cannot be made without the offer, right? So if he hadn't read the advertisement, the case would have taken a different turn. But since he read the advertisement, it's a general offer and anybody can accept a general offer.
The only case when I hear about this is what I remember with me and Harshita and her sister. She gets lost and I find her. That's the only thing I remember.
Okay.
Mr. Singhania entered into
But you might have written down some things, no? At least the case and all. Something you'll remember.
I'll remember it later, but the first thing that flashes in front of my mind is Harshita and her sister.
Yeah. Correct.
Mr. Singhania entered into a contract with Mr. Sonu to sing in his hotel for 6 weeks on every Saturday and Sunday. Mr. Singhania promised to pay rupees 20,000 for every performance. Mr. Sonu performed for 2 weeks, but on the third week, his health condition was very bad and he did not come to sing. Mr. Singhania terminated the contract. State in the light of provisions of the Indian Contract Act of 1872. First, can Mr. Singhania terminate the contract with Mr. Sonu?
Now, I don't think so. You can terminate the contract because it becomes supervening impossibility, right? After entering into the contract, if you fall ill and you cannot perform the contract, it is supervening impossibility. I think so. This was Robinson versus Graves or something. This was the case, correct? Or a similar singing case, correct or no? So, if it is a physical impossibility or something like that, he cannot terminate the contract. That part becomes null and void, but he can continue performing for the remaining contract, correct or no? Because of ill health and all that, right?
What would be your answer in case Mr. Sonu turns up in the 4th week and Mr. Singhania allows him to perform without saying anything?
Without saying anything, then the contract will continue, or the contract will continue. That means the first one is, I don't know why they mentioned that ill health. They should have mentioned that he just did not come. Then he can terminate the
contract.
But I think so that they put that ill health and all, and they confused me also. Usually, remember, we did this case. So what happens is, in case you willfully, neglectly exempt yourself from acting, then you can terminate the contract. But if you're seriously ill, how can you come for the
program?
You would have. But if he turns up for the 4th week and allows him to continue the contract, he can continue with the
contract.
Correct or no? And he will. Okay. Continue. Go to the next one.
Yeah.
This ends Contract Act, right?
Next one. It is.
Sir, I think there were a few sub-questions under that question.
Yeah. There's one more question. I'll read out. What would be your answer in case Mr. Sonu sends Mr. Mika on his place in the 3rd week and Mr. Singhania allows him to perform without saying anything?
Okay, if you accept performance from a third party, generally you cannot substitute a personal contract with somebody else. But if you accept contract from a third party, it is considered as a valid acceptance, right? So acceptance from a third party, once accepted, will be valid. But I feel you should read the answer for this, because this seems to be a little confusing question for me also. So it's better we read it and clarify all our doubts with this. Okay. So let's go to it.
According to Section 40 of the Indian Contract Act of 1872, if it appears from the nature of the case that it was the intention of the parties to any contract that any promise contained in it should be performed by the promiser himself, such promise must be performed by the promiser. Section 41 provides that when a promisee accepts performance of the promise from a third person, he cannot afterwards enforce it against the promiser.
That's all. So he accepted it from the third party, correct?
Therefore, in the instant case, as Mr. Sonu could not perform as per the contract, Mr. Singhania can repudiate the contract. B. In the second situation, as Mr. Singhania allowed Mr. Sonu to perform in the 4th week without saying anything by conduct, Mr. Singhania has given his assent to continue the contract. Mr. Singhania cannot terminate the contract. However, he can claim damages from Mr. Sonu.
Okay.
In case Mr. Singhania allows Mr. Mika to perform in the 3rd week without saying anything by conduct, Mr. Singhania has given his assent for performance by third party. Now, Mr. Singhania cannot terminate the contract nor can claim any damages from Mr. Sonu.
So, according to us, the second and third question was, now the first part, I have a doubt because they said he was very seriously ill and he could not perform. Can you read that question again? And they are saying he can terminate the contract. So, according to me, you cannot terminate it. It generally becomes null and void. Just read the thing.
Okay. Mr. Singhania entered into a contract with Mr. Sonu to sing in his hotel for 6 weeks on every Saturday and Sunday. Mr. Singhania promised to pay rupees 20,000 for every performance. Mr. Sonu performed for 2 weeks, but on the 3rd week, his health condition was very bad. So
That's
he did
very
not come to
bad.
sing.
No. So how can they force him to perform a contract?
Mr. Singhania terminated the contract.
So I'm a little confused with the first answer which they given. I don't agree, but anyway. Correct.
But in the
Second and third
question only,
answer.
they've told Mr.
He is
Singhania terminated the contract. So probably that's why they say.
No, but then they asked the question, no? Can he terminate the contract?
Yeah.
Anyway, if it was very bad, you cannot perform the contract. No, it's physically impossible for him to perform the contract. You cannot terminate it. Might become void, but it cannot be
terminated.
So I have a difference of opinion, but anyway, we'll check this up later on. Okay, let's go to the next things. But otherwise, the second and third answer, what they mention is absolutely right, guys.
An anticipatory breach of contract is a breach of contract occurring before the time fixed for performance has arrived. Discuss stating also the effect of anticipatory breach on contracts.
Okay, this you all have done this. I'm not going through this. This is a direct question.
AB Cloth House, a firm dealing
How many
with the
questions are there? These are 5 questions in section A, this contract act. You have read some 10, 12 questions?
No, 5 are done.
Okay.
Now I'm reading Sale of Goods Act.
Okay.
AB Cloth House, a firm dealing with the wholesale and retail buying and selling of various kinds of cloths, customized as per the requirements of the customers. They dealt with silk, organdy. Sorry, I read it wrong.
O-R-G-A-N-D-I-E. Oh, that's a cloth, huh?
Yeah, organdy.
Okay. I never knew.
Yeah, silk, organdy, cotton, khadi, chiffon, and many other different varieties of cloth. Mrs. Rima, a customer, came to the shop and asked for specific type of cloth suitable for making a sari for her daughter's wedding. She specifically mentioned that she required cotton silk cloth, which is best suited for the purpose. The shop owner agreed and arranged the cloth pieces cut into as per the buyer's requirements. When Rima went to the tailor for getting the sari stitched, she found that the seller has supplied her cotton or organdy material. Cloth was not suitable for the said purpose. It was heavily starched and not suitable for making the sari that Rima desired for. The tailor asked Rima to return the cotton organdy cloth as it would not meet his requirements. The shop owner refused to return the cloth as per the plea that it was cut to specific requirements of Mrs. Rima and hence could not be resold. With reference to doctrine of caveat emptor, explain the duty of the buyer as well as the seller. Also explain whether Mrs. Rima would be able to get the money back or the right kind of cloth as per the requirement.
Now, they will specifically mention caveat emptor, but there are some exceptions to the rule of caveat emptor. So first you mention what is caveat emptor, mention the section, then you write exceptions to the caveat emptor. When the buyer makes known to the seller the purpose for which he is using the cloth and mentions clearly what cloth he wants, in that case, it is an exception to the rule of caveat emptor. So the seller has to take back the cloth and replace the cloth or pay her back the money which is given for the cloth. There are certain conditions which have to be fulfilled. Remember, there's an implied warranty, correct, as to the quality of fitness of the, when the buyer makes known to the buyer the reason for which he is buying. But this, they mention this under caveat emptor, so you can combine it with both. Caveat emptor, exception to caveat emptor, if the buyer makes known to the seller. So she asked for cotton silk. She specifically told for wedding purposes, but he gave a heavily starched cloth, so she can claim damages. She can claim back damages, or she can claim back the money, or the right cotton silk cloth. Second question.
A went to B's shop and selected some jewelry. He falsely represented himself to be a man of credit and thereby persuaded B to take the payment by check. He further requested him to hand over the particular type of ring immediately. On the due date when the seller, B, presented the check for payment, the check was found to be dishonored. Before B could avoid the contract on the ground of fraud by A, he had sold the ring to C. C had taken the ring in good faith and without any notice of the fact the goods with A were under a voidable contract. Discuss if such a sale made by non-owner is valid or not as per the Sale of Goods Act 1930. We've already discussed this.
We have already said this is the exception to the law of non-owner. So you can sell it if the buyer is in the possession of the goods, and here it is the other way around. Here the person who bought the goods is in good position. He has the possession of the goods and he has sold it to somebody else. So the buyer will get a good title. Okay.
Ninth question. Classify the following transactions according to the type of goods they are. A wholesaler of cotton has 100 bales in his godown. He agrees to sell 50 bales and these 50 bales were selected and set aside.
Ascertained, specific, ascertained goods. These are specific goods. You can write specific goods, correct or no? Because they're set aside, right?
Yes, sir. A agrees to sell to B 1 packet of sugar out of the lot of 100 packets lying in his shop.
Unascertained goods.
T agrees to sell to S all the apples which will be produced in his garden this year.
Future goods.
Yes. Certain goods were, 10th question, certain goods were sold by sample by A to B, who in turn sold the same goods by sample to C, and C by sample sold the goods to D. The goods were not according to the sample. Yeah. A to B, B to C, C to D. The goods were not according to the sample. Therefore, D, who found the deviation of the goods from the sample, rejected the goods and gave the notice to C. C sued B, B sued A. Advise B and C under the Sale of Goods Act of 1930.
What do you advise them? You will tell them yes. If the sale is not matching the sample, you can sue them for. There is an implied condition as to sale by sample. So B should sue A and C should sue B. Just see what they've written the answer sample for this. Yeah.
Okay. 1 minute. Okay. D, who noticed the deviation of goods from sample, can reject the goods and treat it as a breach of implied condition as sample, which provides that when the goods are sold by sample, the goods must correspond to the sample in quality and the buyer should be given reasonable time and opportunity of comparing the bulk with the sample. Yeah. Whereas C can recover only damages from B and B can recover damages from A. For C and B, it cannot be treated as a breach of implied condition as to sample as they have accepted and sold the goods according to the section 13 within the brackets 2 of Sale of Goods Act of 1930.
Why they can't, or they can claim only damages, they cannot claim the refund of the goods. Okay.
Yeah, because they've already sold it.
Yeah, to somebody. After buying it, they've already sold it to somebody else on the strength of the sample, right? Okay, that's it, right?
Yes, sir, that's it.
Okay, so all of you all do well in your exams. We will meet again in R2R.
We'll meet in BCK.
Yeah, we'll meet in BCK next week, next Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all of y'all have already started. Tomorrow you will have another class for this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Today only we are starting law, studying wise.
Okay. So thanks all of y'all. Do well in your exam. I'll keep you in my prayers and you'll all will do 100%. All of y'all will clear and join back in intermediate. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys, it's 7:57 p.m. right now. And we have a law class by Mehul sir, who has just joined. Mehul sir has just joined. You have 3 minutes of break. Sorry for the short break, but if you have to use, say hi to Prakriti, go say hi and come back. Bye. Excuse me, sir. Good evening, sir. Mehul, sir.
Audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. Visible?
Yes, sir.
Visible already?
Yes, sir.
Great. Can we begin, friends?
Yes, sir.
All right, good to start. Can we begin? It begins now. Yes, no, respond quick.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now,
Yes.
Brilliant. Good to start. All right. So, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. We are meeting after ages. I'm not really sure which batch was this. Suddenly, after seeing a couple of faces, it flashed to me. Okay, this was one of the batches that I myself handled. I insist you guys to keep your cameras on. Or else somewhere tomorrow after you clear your CA, you find me or I find you, we'll still be counting stars whether we've seen each other or not. So let's ensure we show our faces. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
good
sir.
morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Wow. Monday evening. Absolutely great content available on Netflix, Amazon, Hotstar, Z5, YouTube. Worst of all, on your television, I understand. But for the next 1.5 hours, we are going to spend together to get one step closer to our dream. So can we begin, friends? Yes, no, a little energy.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I
sir.
can totally understand. I can totally understand. You just finished a revision of a couple of topics and you're going to again start a revision of a couple of other topics. Don't worry, wherever you feel you're not able to recollect, that's the whole point of what we are going to do now. All right. So 100% energy, next 1.5 hours, absolutely fresh. Forget the entire world. All that we're going to do next 1.5 hours is just get one step closer to our dream. All right. So goes unsaid. It is revision. It is assumed that you've already seen, you've already had a vision of the topic once, and we are revising it. Goes unsaid, I am sure you might not be able to remember everything, but after we start discussing, everything is going to be simple and normal. All right, till then, let's get started. 100% energy. I insist you guys to keep your cameras on. We'll ensure that you guys are there in the session. All right, so whatever you decide to do, make sure it makes you happy. And once you've started, there's no option but do it happily. As simple as that. All right. So friends, what we are going to do is, the session itself says it is going to be a revision session where we are going to cover a couple of topics which we have dealt earlier. All right. It could be a Companies Act, LLP and partnership. It is going to be divided into 2 sessions. Today, we are going to spend 1.5 hours. Tomorrow, we are going to spend another 1.5 hours. Most important, tomorrow, we are going to analyze how do you attempt and take up those important questions? How do you fix? How do you decide which is that question which I have to attempt? A couple of exam tips which we might have discussed, but we are going to look into it once again. So having said that, today's 1.5 hour session that we are going to spend is purely towards Companies Act. Sir, I forgot some faculty had discussed at the top of his voice, which we have never understood because we used to mute him up. Absolutely fine. Now you don't do that. Next 1.5 hour, you just ensure you're there in the session. Can we begin? Shri Raksha, Spurti, there in the session. Respond quickly.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Brilliant.
Yes, sir.
The first topic that we are going to revise is the Companies Act 2013. All right. Quickly seeing the weightage from your examination perspective goes unsaid. Your business law is going to be of 60 marks. All right. Out of that 60 marks, if you see, your Companies Act is going to be of 15 to 20%. So bare minimum, you expect 9 to 12 marks from this chapter. Cakewalk, chiller topic, if you ask me, as long as you're there and understanding whatever we are discussing or revising now. All right, let's get started. What is company? Sir, somewhere someone has been yelling at the top of his voice, company. What is company? Section 2 clause 20 defines the term company. Company means a company which is incorporated under this act or under any previous company law. As simple as that. Sir, which previous company law? I want to know the history. Let's get started. History comes from your first act, which was after independence, 1956 act. Before independence, did we have an act? Answer is yes. But we are going to focus on the first Companies Act, which the independent India had seen was the Companies Act of 1956. Immediately after that, we found that, sir, there are a few provisions which are not relevant. It's as good as my mother used to tell me, when you buy a chocolate today at 10 rupee, I used to buy that at 10 paise. I can't compare. I will have to ensure that with time, with age, things are changing. The same thing our lawmakers have done. From 1956 Act, now we are learning Companies Act 2013. From your syllabus perspective, what should you know? Companies Act 13. First of all, this itself, if I know and remember everything, more than enough. It's okay to get 99 out of 100. More than enough. All right. So Companies Act 2013 came into picture. It has 470 sections and a couple of schedules. Most important thing that you'll have to understand is Section 2 clause 20 defines the term company. All right. So what is the definition of company? Very simple. Company means a company which is incorporated under this act or under any previous law. Classic example, Tata. Tata was not incorporated under your Companies Act 2013. It was incorporated under the previous law. Classic example, Infosys. Infosys was not incorporated in 2013. It came from 1990s. So if I don't put this clause incorporated under previous act, Infosys is not a company. Wow. Ask your parents, they might have investment in it. Zero value, because according to you, if I wouldn't have put the phrase, then that has no value at all. So therefore, lawmakers, I hope you appreciate such a small observation, but it can play a huge havoc had they not mentioned this. Your parents' investment, which they think you might be useless after 20 years, so they have to reserve and ensure that their future is safe. So they might have invested something. If I wouldn't have put this phrase, incorporated under previous company law, Infosys is not a company. Reliance is not a company, because these are not incorporated under 2013. These are coming from the previous law. I hope each one of us are clear. Now, sir, this is about the definition. What is the meaning of the word company? Company means it's a group of people who come together. What will they do after coming together? They're going to contribute money or money's worth. Why, sir? So that we are going to do business. What will we do with the business, sir? We are going to generate profits. Is profit motive important? 110% profit motive is important. No, sir. Somewhere someone spoke about exceptions. I first talk about general piece of law. Profit is important. Exception, Section 8 company, which we will see when we are discussing. So profit is extremely important when it comes to a company, and that profit will be distributed amongst the members in the form of dividend or any other form as well. So this is your simple meaning of the word company. Definition is coming from Section 2 clause 20. Sir, is there a difference between the word definition and meaning? Yes, both are different. Definition means it has to be produced the way it is in the act. Meaning means you write your Ram Katha. Whatever you understood, you write your Ram Katha, you will get marks for it as long as Ram Katha, Ram remains Ram and Sita is Sita. Go ahead. Next, Section 1, which talks about your applicability of Companies Act 2013. Sir, is it applicable to companies? Go sunset. It says Companies Act. It is applicable to companies. Sir, banking company, insurance company, electricity company, it is applicable to them because I'm myself saying it is a company. Sir, but they have their respective fathers as well. Classic example, Anjana's from Christ College. So she has a father at home. She has a father at college as well. Now, which father should she address? Both. Sir, in case if there's a fight, Companies Act itself is resolving this by telling that whenever there is any inconsistency between your Companies Act and your respective act, then you are going to follow your respective act. As simple as that. All right, let's quickly read Companies Act. This act is applicable to all those companies which are incorporated under this act or under previous company law. It is applicable to insurance companies. It is applicable to banking companies. It is applicable to companies which are engaged in generation or supply of electricity. However, these are also regulated by another parent, another father. So in case if there's a fight, if there is any inconsistency between their provisions, which one should I follow? Companies Act itself is making your life simpler by saying, if there is any inconsistency between the provisions of Companies Act and those respective acts, you please follow your respective acts. As simple as that. Understood? Kavya, yes? Jagdish, there in the session. So insurance companies, you have your IRDA Act, Insurance Act. Banking companies, you have a Banking Regulation Act. Companies which are engaged in supply of electricity, you have your Electricity Act. So in case if there is an inconsistency, you follow your respective act. Coming to your characteristics of companies, all right. This is one of the favorite areas from which they are usually, all right, which they usually consider for asking MCQs. So 100% focus. I repeat, I insist you guys to keep your cameras on. All right, that will ensure that you guys are there in the session 100%. So the first characteristic is corporate personality or separate legal entity. Now, what is this, sir? This is to tell that, please note, company is different and the person is different. Company has its own existence. Company is a separate person in itself. Example, Infosys and Mr. Narayan Murthy are not one and the same. Reliance and Dhirubhai Ambani are not one and the same. Why? Because Reliance is a separate person in itself. You can file a case. Reliance can also file a case against you. Reliance can buy assets. Reliance can sell assets. It can do anything in its own name. So therefore, that is covering as a part of your corporate personality. Very important. You'll have to remember a case law which we had discussed. Solomon versus Solomon and Company Limited. If you remember, I told you one story where a person has given loan and later on other creditors said, sir, the company and the person who started the company are one and the same. They shouldn't be treated different. So lawmakers clearly said, or courts clearly said, please note, Solomon and Solomon Company Limited are not one and the same. They're two different persons. And this justifies our entire discussion on corporate personality. Understood? Yes. Then we go on to the next point. Company as an artificial person. Yes, company is a person, but is it a natural person? You and I are a natural person. Company is an artificial person. It has its own existence. Next point. Sir, company is a citizen. The answer is no. Company does not have citizenship. Extremely important. Sir, who's giving this answer? Is it given by Companies Act? The answer is no. It is coming from Section 2, Clause F of Citizenship Act of 1955. Friends, I know that you might not be able to remember everything. But after we discuss a particular point, you should be able to recollect, not remember everything, but recollect things that we have discussed. All right. So Section 2, Clause F of Citizenship Act of 1955 clearly says that, boss, please note, companies will not have any citizenship. Sir, then what? When I say Reliance is an Indian company, what does that mean? It is not citizenship. It is the nationality. All right. So when I say Reliance is an Indian company, what am I referring to? I am referring to the nationality of Reliance. All right. So can a company have nationality? 100%. Yes, company can have a nationality and it can have residence as well. It can give its own registered office that will be called as its residence. Sir, what is this concept of limited liability? Next characteristic, brilliant example, which none of us will be ever able to, will never forget this. All right. So this is a company called as Chota Bheem Private Limited. All right. So Chota Bheem Private Limited, you are an investor. Congratulations. You're a shareholder who is having shares of Chota Bheem Private Limited. The value is 10 rupees. All right. You have already paid 6 rupees. Now, tomorrow, Chota Bheem Private Limited has to pay 1 crore to the creditor. Can Chota Bheem Private Limited come and ask you, because you're the owner of the company, please make the payment? The answer is no. You have to pay how much? Only to the extent of 4 rupees, because this is the concept of limited liability. Your liability is limited to the extent of the amount that you have not paid on the shares. I repeat, share value is 10 rupees, out of which 6 rupees has already been paid. Now, tomorrow, let's assume the company has to pay crores together. Is it your responsibility as a shareholder? The answer is no. If it is a limited liability company, then your liability is only to the extent of the amount which you have not paid. As simple as that. So what is your liability tomorrow? If someone is coming and asking you, your answer is going to be, please note, my liability is only to the extent of 4 rupees. And this is the concept of your unlimited liability. Then we go on to the next point, perpetual succession. Classic understanding, men may come, men may go, but company will go on forever. What is the meaning of this? This is not a story which I'm cooking. This is the statement which comes from your B.S. Raman uncle's book. All right. So perpetual succession means this will not be influenced by the existence of the person who started it. Classic example, Reliance. Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani started Reliance. One fine day, Dhirubhai Ambani passed away. All right. Reliance also closed. If your answer is yes, please check your parents' portfolio. The answer is, please note, the company will not close because it has a perpetual succession. It will continue. It has not really been bothered by the person who started it. That person's death or existence will not make difference to the company's existence because of the concept of perpetual succession. I hope I'm clear, everyone. Men may come, men may go, but the company will go on forever. Trust me, writing this statement will also fetch you marks. There's a reason why I'm emphasizing on this. All right. Next one, separate property. What is the meaning of this? Sri Raksha, congratulations. You have 10 shares in all the companies in the world. Does that mean the property of those companies also belong to you? You will say, I am the owner. So yes, the property belongs to me. The answer is no. That does not even make sense. If that is the case, everyone is smart. They'll take one share of every company. You have taken 10. I will take 1 and claim the property of the company is my property. Law says no. Please note, the company's property is not the property of the person who started the company. Please note, it is a separate property. The company is a legal person. It has its own existence and its own properties. It does not become the property of the members as long as the company is going. Tomorrow, when you close the company and if you want to sell, do whatever with the assets, that is a secondary question. As long as the company is in existence, it is a separate property concept. Understood? Naveen there in the session, Pradyumna there in the session. Transferability of shares. Why do people invest in shares? Because they can easily transfer. All right. I can easily take the shares which Bhumika has. I can give it to Jagdish. Jagdish can give it to Yashwini. Yashwini can give it to Priyanka. So this cycle is one of the most important feature of company. This is one of the most important feature of a company. Transferability of share is allowed. Next point, capacity to sue and be sued. Let's assume you're eating noodles, Maggie. One fine day, someone in the newspaper put that Maggie has iron, lead, metals, whichever I'm not understood in chemistry, all those metals are there. All those metals are there in this particular product. Now, can you file a case against Nestle? The answer is yes. People sued Nestle. Can Nestle sue you? The answer is 110%. Yes, even they can. So this brings in the concept of capacity to sue and be sued. Next one, contractual rights. Can the company purchase? Can the company sell? The answer is yes. Company is a separate person. It has all the rights to enter into contracts. So this is the next point. Next, BC, limitation of action. Sir, I'm a company. I can do anything under the sky. The law says no. Wait, you're a company. I understand. You enjoy a few privileges. I understand. However, sabka baap hota hai. So in the same case, if you see, limitation of action will come into picture. Companies cannot go beyond the powers which are given in your MOA and the Companies Act. All right. This brings in the characteristic or the feature of limitation of action. Separate management. All right. Bhumika says, sir, I am the owner of Reliance. I'm going to decide what Reliance is going to do. Mr. Mukesh Ambani will close his business and he is going to leave the entire world. He'll become a monk because Bhumika is going to handle. That does not make sense. Just because you're owner does not mean that you are going to get the power to manage, because management is different from ownership. And this is the most important characteristic, separate management. Understood? Yes. Next one, voluntary association of profits. At the end of the day, please note, general piece of law. Everyone is here for profits. All companies are formed for the purpose of profits. You will never straight away talk about exceptions. I have made this point time and again clear. Whenever someone is asking you a question, don't straight away jump into conclusions or exceptions. You first talk about the generic piece of law. Why are companies incorporated? For the purpose of profits. Next point, are there exceptions? There is only one exception, Section 8 companies. All right. Section 8 companies are those companies which are incorporated not with the motive of profit. Sir, but if they generate profit, is it okay? Yes, it is okay if they generate profit, but they are not doing business with the motive of only generating profits. I hope I'm clear, everyone. All right. Next one, common seal. Sir, is it mandatory? The answer is no. Please note, from Companies Amendment Act 2020 or 2015 onwards, common seal has been made as optional. It is not mandatory. It is optional. What is the meaning of the word common seal? Just like your school colleges, if you remember, you had a seal, all right, on your certificates, which you used to get. That seal is something similar. That is a similar concept in case of company as well. But this is now given an optional role. It does not have mandatory. None of you can ever forget this slide. None of you can ever forget this slide. I hope so. Do you recall which topic is this, friend? Lifting of corporate veil. All right. Lifting of corporate veil. Once upon a time, there was a person called as Tom who wanted to carry out smuggling activities, but he knew, he was extremely smart, assuming he was you. All right. He knew that he cannot carry out smuggling activities because tomorrow, if anything happens, cops are going to catch him directly. So what he does, he goes ahead and creates a company called as Tom Private Limited, and he does all the activities through Tom Private Limited. All right. He smuggles, he does all the illegal activities through Tom Private Limited. Now wait. Tomorrow, if anything happens, who's the first person who's going to be caught? Tom Private Limited. Tom Private Limited. Ideally, that's the whole point. Why? Because I myself thought that company and the person who starts the company are two different persons. You will quote Solomon versus Solomon Company Limited. Yes, lawmaker said, brilliant. I know that you know law, but there's an extension which I know, that is nothing but the concept of lifting of corporate veil. What is lifting of corporate veil? Lifting of corporate veil, absolutely strong language. The lawmakers or the courts can break open the shell of the company to check who's that person who's operating for the purpose of defrauding or carrying out any frauds. All right. For the purpose of defrauding any of the creditors or for the purpose of any illegal activity of you using the company as a shell, then I will not permit. I will break open the shell to check who's that person. And this is the concept of corporate law being lifted. I hope I'm clear, everyone. Any other example that I quoted? Anyone can recall? Any other example? Quick. I quoted another example. Satyam scam. Anything else? Quick. Brilliant. Whoever it was. The moment I talk about Kingfisher, each one of you have already got the image of the person who was there behind. Why? Because all that you're doing is also lifting the corporate veil. For those of you who are not able to get the picture, Google it later on. Going back to the topic, the doctrine of lifting corporate veil is extremely important from exam perspective. I will show it to you in some time. All right. Next. Then we go on. Sir, scenarios in which the corporate veil can be lifted. The first one, sir, if you're trading with enemy, then the corporate veil can be lifted. Classic example, if you remember, there is a war going on, Kargil 1999. Assume you guys were born and you are there. So there is a war going on and immediately you want to purchase something from Pakistan. Assume. Can you do so? The answer is no. Indian Contract Act, you've already just revised. Assuming that that point was discussed, you cannot enter into transactions or any contract with an enemy is going to be void. Am I clear? Yes. The same concept comes here. In case if you're trading with enemies, then the corporate veil will be lifted. Second, where the corporate entity is being used for the purpose of circumventing or evading taxes. If you remember, there were two companies. One person was receiving all the dividends. So what he decided, he's going to create 4 companies separately and ensure that all the dividend is received by those 4 companies and nothing will be taxable. Do you remember we had discussed this? One fine day, lawmaker said, wait. Why have you created these companies? For the purpose of not paying taxes. You're trying to evade tax. You're trying to carry out something which is not legit. And therefore, lawmakers will lift the corporate veil, will lift that curtain to check who's that person behind and what is the motive. And that is nothing but the second scenario where the corporate veil will be lifted. Third one, where the company is formed for the purpose of acting as an agent. This is where you cannot do something. So you're asking that subsidiary to carry out. Example, I wanted some license. My company wanted some license. I didn't get. Why? Because of XYZ reasons, I didn't get the license. So what I did, I created a subsidiary and asked that subsidiary to go get the license. Lawmakers will ask first question, why was the subsidiary created? Just for obtaining license. Who is using that license? I am using that license. Therefore, corporate will be lifted just to check who's the person who started this company. And that is another scenario where corporate veil is going to be lifted. Fourth scenario, to avoid legal obligation. Naveen there in the session. So Naveen Private Limited is a company which is having 30 employees. As per law, assume, since you guys are hungry right now, as per law, assume Naveen Private Limited, if he has more than 20 employees, then he has to ensure that dinner facility is provided. Now, Naveen has to provide dinner facility for 30 people. First of all, seeing the stipend and the pocket money, he will ensure that his monthly expenses are covered or not. I have to feed 30 people. Now, what will I do? The best thing is to reduce the number from 30. But can I ask my employees to leave? How will I run business? I will not do that. So what will I do? I will create another company, transfer 10 employees there. Transfer 10 employees there. What am I doing? I am just creating company for the purpose of avoiding legal obligation, and law is very clear. If you're doing anything of this sort, I will lift the corporate veil and I will check who's that person doing this. So this is the fourth scenario. And the last one, if you're carrying out any illegal or improper purpose, if the company is incorporated for any illegal purpose, then the corporate veil is going to be lifted. These are 5 scenarios in which corporate veil can be lifted. Companies can be incorporated into incorporated companies and incorporated companies. If you were there in the session, you should have understood, because I cannot have a concept of unincorporated companies there in the session, everyone, because just now section 2 clause 20 said company means a company which is incorporated under this act or under previous law. I hope I'm clear, everyone there in the session, or I'm just yelling at the top of
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, on the basis of incorporation, I can classify companies into 3 modes: registered company, statutory company, and chartered company. What is registered company? Company which is registered under the Companies Act. Statutory company, those companies which are given birth by an act. Classic example, LIC. All right. Another example, it could be any other company that you can think about. Those are all your statutory companies. Third one, chartered companies. Chartered company means those companies which are given birth by the monarch. Classic example, East India Company. Go back to your history days if you remember. So these are all classic examples of your modes where I divide companies based on the mode of incorporation. Registered companies can now be divided based on the liability. I can have 3 types of companies: companies limited by shares, companies limited by guarantee, and unlimited company. What is companies limited by share? As the name itself says, my liability is to the extent of the amount that I have not paid on the shares. Out of 10 rupees, 6 rupees paid. What is my liability? 4 rupees. So this is a limited liability company. What is the company limited by guarantee? My liability will be to the extent of the guaranteed amount which I have agreed at the time of incorporation of the company. Classic example, if you remember, Mysore Silk Emporium. It's a government company. When it was started, government said, I will pay 1 crore tomorrow if anything happens. It is my guarantee. So what is the liability of the government? 1 crore rupee. My liability is limited to the amount of the guarantee that I've given. Understood, everyone? unlimited company. Example?
Amway.
Brilliant. If you're there in the session, you will remember the examples. If you weren't there, no worries. I'm revising. All right. So what is unlimited company? Goes unsaid. Liability is unlimited. Sell your personal property, sell your kidneys, sell every part of your body and get the money. Get the money. And that is the concept of unlimited company. You have to get the money from your personal assets. And that is the concept of unlimited liability, where the liability is extended to your personal assets as well. It is not limited. But when will it become unlimited? When the company is operating?
At the time of winding up.
Only at the time of winding up. Your liability will become unlimited only at the time of winding up. While the company is operating, you can't ask him to sell his personal assets and bring in the money. Tomorrow, when the company is being wound up, and at that point of time, if I need money, I will ask them to sell their personal assets. And that is the concept of your unlimited company. I hope everyone is clear. All right. Next, companies can be divided based on the number of members. I can have a public company. I can have a private company. I can have a one-person company. Let's first start with one-person company. Very difficult concept. Extremely difficult concept. One-person company means a company which has only one person. Wow. Nothing high funda. Section 2, clause 62 defines the term one-person company. The term itself says one-person company means a company which has minimum 1%. True or false?
Only 1%.
Only 1%.
Only
You were there in the
Only
session.
1%.
By now you should have even predicted the question which I would have asked. All right. You should be able to predict the question. The same point, please note, only is the word used. I cannot use the word minimum. It is not your married life where you can have minimum one wife, minimum one husband. No, please, for God's sake, note, it is only 1%. I hope I'm clear, everyone. Crystal clear with the concept, friends. Yes. So this is coming under section 2, clause 62. Let's go ahead. The second concept is private company, coming under section 2, clause 68. Before private company, let's go to section 2, clause 71, which defines public company. Simple. Public company means a company which is not a private company. Will examiner ask this question? The answer is no. Your question is not going to be on what is public company. Your question is going to be on the proviso. Proviso says, if you are a subsidiary of a public company, if you are a subsidiary of a public company, you will be deemed to be a public company. Whether your articles of association calls you a private company, I don't care. You will be deemed public company, and whatever policies, rules, and regulations are applicable to a public company, the same thing will be applied to you. And therefore, this is coming from the proviso to section 2, clause 71, which defines your deemed public company concept. Understood? Meg there in the session, Tripti there in the session, understanding? Yes. Next. When it comes to your private company, important from examination, this is the place where they will ask question. So in case if they want to ask question, first area, proviso. The second area is going to be somewhere around this. All right, where the private company definition comes into picture. Section 2, clause 68 defines a private company. Very simple. Private company means a company which is incorporated. Let's quickly jump to that concept first. Private company means a company which by its articles of association is having three important limbs. RLP, restriction, limitation, prohibition. Each one of you must be able to understand and recollect topics that we have discussed. All right. There's a restriction, there's a limitation, and there's a prohibition. Difference between restriction and prohibition. Can you recall the examples? Going to Goa, complete prohibition at home. No question at all. You can't go. Going to Gokarna, you can. All right. Gokarna is another place for those of you who aren't aware. Goa prohibited. At home, they've clearly said you can't go. Instead of Goa, let's assume if I want to go to Gokarna, the answer could be yes, but has its own terms and conditions. Your parents are going to have their own terms and conditions. All right. So this is the difference between the word restriction and the word prohibition. You are restricted from the transfer, the right to transfer shares. All right. Can I transfer? The answer is yes, you can transfer, but there are few terms and conditions which you have to follow. This is the restriction. What is prohibition then? Prohibition is you cannot beg, borrow, steal from public. You are a private company. If I give you the access to the public, how are you even private company? As simple as that. Are you guys understanding? Yes. So prohibition, you are prohibited from inviting the public to subscribe to any of your securities of the company. That is the prohibition. Sir, then what is L, sir? I hope you recollect there are three limbs: restriction, prohibition. Now we are discussing L. L stands for your limitation. You are limited. You're ensuring that there is a limit on the number of members. How many? 200. You cannot have more than 200 members. You cannot have more than 200 members. This is the limitation which is coming from section 2, clause 68. I hope I'm clear, everyone. All right. Now, before I get on to 200, let's quickly go and finish our OPC concept. All right. Each one of you, section 2, clause 68 defines OPC. OPC means a company which has only one person as a member. By mistake, if you use the word minimum, trust me, your entire answer script should be scratched. Your entire answer script itself should not be evaluated, because that shows that you have no clarity about the concept. You don't know how to use language. Randomly, you've used the language. Guys, I have emphasized this time and again. I hope you understand how crucial this one word is, only and minimum. I hope I'm clear, everyone. All right. Can I use maximum 1%? Does it even make sense? Maximum 1%, minimum 0. And you're starting a company. Are you guys even understanding? Please, for God's sake, please use the word only as the only word in your entire answer. I hope I'm clear. All right. Next. Sir, OPC is a public company or private company? Tomorrow, if any rules and regulations are applicable, should I consider it as a public company or private company? Law says, please note, it is going to be a private company. Whatever is applicable to a private company, same thing applies to an OPC as well, until and unless if that particular provision itself says that a particular point is not applicable to OPC. To simplify, for those of you who haven't understood, whatever is applicable to a private company, the same thing applies to an OPC, full stop. In case if the section itself says that a few things are applicable to private company except OPC, then you give that exception. As simple as that. All right. Next point. In OPC, you should have one person who's going to subscribe to the memorandum. Subscriber is nothing but that first person who's going to be the shareholder. Second point. So tomorrow, if the person who started OPC itself got up, all right, that person itself dies. Now what is going to happen? The nominee is going to come into picture. Therefore, it becomes extremely important to ensure that in the memorandum of association, you have the name of the nominee mentioned in the MOA itself. I hope I'm clear, everyone. Yes. Next point. After your name, you will have to write in brackets, you are an OPC. Next point, every private company shall have minimum 2 members. OPC shall have minimum 1 member. True or false? For those of you who are saying, who are nodding your heads, Anjana, I hope I'm there in the session, 100% focus. Those of you missed out, you missed out. For those of you nodded your head, please note 100% focus. You cannot use the language minimum. It has to be only. All right. The number of members shall not exceed 200 in case of private company. However, in case of 1-person company, shall have minimum 1 member. All right.
Only 1 member.
Only 1 member.
Every private company shall have minimum 2 directors. However, OPC shall have minimum 1 director. True or false? True or false? 110% true. 110% true. Listen to me very carefully. Members, only 1 member. Directors, I can have 100. I can have 200. Goes unsaid that there are restrictions. I'm just exaggerating the example right now. Do I have any restriction on the number of directors in case of a company? The answer is, in case of OPC, the answer is no. Minimum 1. Can I have 3 directors? Yes, you can have. Yes, you can have. All right. Because not necessary that the directors have to be members. I hope I am clear. I hope I'm clear. Everyone there in the session? Yes. So this is the second part. Next. We go back to section 2 clause 68 where we have defined private company. Let's quickly see, for the purpose of this 200 limit, 100% focus. There's a question in your May 2022 RTP, 100% focus. All right. So in calculation of 200, joint holders will be considered as 1. All right. Let's assume Spurti and Spurti's husband going to be assumed. They are jointly holding 1 share of Nestle. That might be of 20,000, 30,000, whatever the price is. All right. Now they will be considered as 200. They will be considered as 2, or they will be considered as 1.
1.
They will be, assume it is Nestle Private Limited. First of all, my smart biscuits. If you assume, let me also assume that Nestle is a private company. Blindly saying 1 will not make sense. Listen to me very carefully. All right. Assume Nestle is a private company. In that case, Spurti and going to become husband will be considered as 1 member for the purpose of my calculation of 200. Why? Because joint holders will be considered as 1 for the purpose of 200 calculation. Understood? Now, May 22 RTP has a question on the next 2 points. Chiller topic. You should be able to recollect, but I'm just emphasizing because this is there in your May 22 RTP. All right. Where your employees, present or past, I don't care. All right. Where your employees, whether present or past, if they have received the shares because of being in employment, let's assume they are in employment, by virtue of being in employment, if they receive shares, then that will not be counted for the purpose of my 200 limit. So how in examination, how will they ask a question? They will ask a question that Priyanka is a member in the company. All right. However, Priyanka has also got these shares. Priyanka has got the shares of the company because she is an employee. She has got it by way of ESOP. ESOP is employee stock option plan. All right. This is given only to employee. Now, please note, for the purpose of this 200, will I be including Priyanka? The answer is no. I will not be including Priyanka because if you are a present employee or past employee, and if you've received shares, because of being in employment, because you have got ESOP, then I will not be calculating for the purpose of, I will not be considering for the purpose of 200. Understanding everyone? Manyata there in the session, understanding? Yes. So then section 2 clause 71, we've understood public company means a company which is not a private company. Proviso is important. What does proviso say? If you are a subsidiary of a public company, then you will be deemed public company for the purpose of this entire act, irrespective of the fact that your articles of association might say that you are a private company. I don't care what your articles of association says. I will go by section 2 clause 71. Understood? Yes. Then very, very important concept from exam perspective. This is usually asked in examination, section 2 clause 85. Small company. How small is small is defined under section 2 clause 85. When do I say a company is small? A company is said to be small if it satisfies two important conditions. Both the conditions or only one condition?
Both.
Both the condition. I hope you remember there was a blunder long back. I hope you remember we discussed that instead of the word and, they had used the word or. So what happened? Every Tom, Dick and Harry started calling themselves a small company. Not permitted. After that, lawmakers realized that they've done a mistake and they have amended the law, and now the language is and. Therefore, both the conditions have to be satisfied. What are the conditions? Paid up capital should not exceed 2 crores. Turnover should not exceed 20 crores. As simple as that. Understood, everyone? Yes. The following companies also cannot become a small company. Which one? Public company, a holding company, a subsidiary company, a company which is registered under Section 8, or any company which is governed by special act. I have a question. LIC, private limited. Assume LIC, limited. LIC limited has a paid up capital of 1 lakh, turnover of 10 lakhs. Is it a small company? Is it a small company? Respond.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Why?
No, sir. It's a
Why?
public.
It is not a private company. First point, it's a public company. First point. Second point, let's assume it is LIC private limited and it is a statutory company. It's a statutory company. Is it a small company?
No.
Why no? Why no?
Governed by a special act.
Brilliant. What is the meaning of the word statutory company? Statutory company means those companies which are governed by special act, which is brought into existence by a special act. Therefore, here it is very clear that if you are governed by a special act, I will not be considering you as a small company. As simple as that. Understanding, everyone? Then we go to the concept of holding company and subsidiary under section 2 clause 46 and section 2 clause 87. All right. Subsidiary is small company is defined under section 2 clause 85. Subsidiary is defined under section 2 clause 87. You should be remembering all of these section titles and numbers. All right. What is small company or what is subsidiary company? Subsidiary company means it's a child of another parent. All right. So when do I call a person? When do I call a company is a child? When any of these two conditions are satisfied. Any of these two. All right. Where the other company is controlling the composition of board of directors, or where the other company is controlling more than one half. More than one half. Immediately after this slide, I have a bouncer and you should be able to gauge which question it is. More than one half is the language. It's not going to be more than 50%. I know it's one and the same, but I don't want you to use the language more than 50%. Will you get marks for writing more than 50%? Possibly, yes, but I don't want you to write the language which isn't there in law. All right. More than one half is nothing but 50% itself, more than 50%. But I don't want you to use the language more than 50%. Understanding, everyone? So if more than one half of your total voting power is controlled by another company, then you will be called as a subsidiary company and the other company is your holding company. Understood, everyone? Understood, everyone? I have a question. Listen to me very carefully. We have solved this in the class. 100% focus. 100% focus. Chandana there in the session? Yes. So there's this company called as A1, which is holding 51%, in B1. Is B1 a subsidiary?
Yes, sir.
110%, yes. 51% of the total voting power is held, so B1 is a subsidiary. Now, question 2. B1 is holding 31%. B1 is holding 31% in C1 and A1 is holding 21% in C1. Is C1 a subsidiary of B1? First question.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Answer is no, because B1 is not holding more than 50%, more than one half in C1. So there's no question that C1 can be called as a subsidiary of B1. But the trick comes now. The tricky question comes now. Is C1 a subsidiary of A1? The answer is 110% yes, because language used is if I control more than one half, either on my own or together with one or more of my subsidiaries. So this is my subsidiary. Along with my subsidiary, I am holding in C1 more than 50%, 31 plus 21, which is more than 50% as per my calculator. Therefore, this is going to be considered as my subsidiary. Understood, everyone? Understood, everyone? Crystal clear? Expect this question in examination. Let's go ahead. Definition of associate company. What is associate company? When another company is having significant influence. Now, what is significant influence? At least 20%. So from 20% up to 50%, you are an associate company. More than 50%? Just now we have discussed. More than 50%, you are going to be called as a subsidiary. If you are less than 50%, but more than or equal to 20%, you are an associate company. As simple as that. Understood? The phrase that we use is significant influence in case of associate company. Then we go on to section government company under section 2 clause 45. More than 50% is held by central government, state government, or a combination of both. It is going to be called as a government company. True or false?
False.
Why false? Why false?
At least 51%.
At least 51%.
50% or 51%?
51%.
At least 51% is held by central government, state government, or a combination of both. Then it will be called as a central government company. Time and again, if you recall in the session, we had discussed this. All right, an amazing discussion that we had. More than 50% subsidiary. More than at least 51%, it's going to be government company. For government company, we are not going to use more than 1/2 or 50%. Classic example, let's assume Chandana Limited is a company in which central government is holding 50.5% stake in Chandana Private Limited. Is Chandana Private Limited a government company?
No.
More than 50%.
At least 51.
I hope I'm clear. At least 51% has to be held. All right. Then we go ahead. What is foreign company? Extremely important from exam perspective. This itself can be a question. Section 2 clause 42 says a foreign company means a company which is incorporated outside India. Full stop? No. Why will I be bothered if you're incorporated outside India? I will be bothered only if you start having business in India. Classic example, Tesla. If you remember, I had given this example of Tesla as well. Tesla at one point of time, your Elon Musk at one point of time said, I will not enter India at all. It's a separate story that now he's having business in India. At times life changes. So at one point of time, Elon Musk said, I will not enter into India. Why will Indians be bothered? You enter, you don't enter. I'm not cared. I'm not bothered because you're outside India. But if he starts having business in India, is it a foreign company? The answer is yes. Section 2 clause 42 says if you're incorporated outside India and if you have a place of business in India, and extremely important, if you're conducting any business activity in India, then you will be called as a foreign company. Just being incorporated outside India, will I be bothered? The answer is no. So like this, there will be lakhs of companies outside India. Why will Indians be bothered? Why will Companies Act of India be bothered? I will be bothered only if you have a place of business in India and if you're conducting business in India. Understanding, everyone? Why have I given this example? Because I know students will end up writing just till here. Just till here. Full stop. Their answer ends here. I hope you're there in the session. Understanding? Understanding? Next. Section 8 company. What are Section 8 companies? Section 8 companies means, just give me a second, please. Section 8 companies means those companies which are formed for the purpose of a charitable object. All right, those companies which are formed for the purpose of charity. Second point, no, it is application of profits. Usually asked in examination, I will use the profits. Can I make profits? 100%, sir, you can make profits. Your motive is not profit, but can I make profit? The answer is yes. Let's assume I'm a company I'm a Section 8 company which is engaged for the promotion of welfare of people, education activities. For that purpose, I've put up a stall. I made profit. Now what? Can I earn profit? The answer is yes. But you can use that profit only for the purpose of promoting your object. Can I declare dividend out of it? Sir, why are you here? If you had to declare dividend, you're not a Section 8 company itself. I hope you're understanding, everyone. There in the session? Yes. So no payment of dividend out of profits. Type of company. It is a limited liability and you need not use the word limited or private limited. How is the status of Section 8 company given? Central government is going to grant the status. Now we know central government is busy. So they have given the power to ROC to give the license. Can this be cancelled? Can this license be revoked? The answer is 110%. Yes, this can be revoked if you are contravening any of the provisions of Section 8 or if you are conducting your activities which are fraudulent or prejudicial to the public interest. If you're doing something which is not even in the interest of public, I will cancel your license. Now, who can cancel the license? Central government. Only central government can revoke the license. All right. Effect of revocation. Once the license is revoked, what will happen? Start using limited and private limited. If you remember, I asked you not to use because you were doing something good. Now, suddenly you are being a bad person. Please start using the word limited and private limited, and whatever is applicable to a normal company, the same thing is going to apply to you as well. Dormant company. What is a dormant company? Something like you guys, if you realize, it's been exactly 45 minutes and you guys are already dormant, inactive. All right. The same way, if a company also wants to call itself as a dormant company, it is going to make an application to the registrar and obtain the status of dormant company. Now you might be thinking, sir, why will someone even ask for dormant company status? Because if you are a dormant company, lot of provisions are not applicable to you. You don't have to prepare a few documents. You don't have to submit a few documents. Example, let's go back 2 years. All right. COVID. Your company was engaged in finding out the vaccination for COVID 2 years back. 2 years back. I know now there are vaccinations. I'm saying 2 years back. Your company hasn't come up with anything. It is still doing its R&D. It is still not having any business. It is not having any significant accounting transaction. So will you still want to follow all the rules and regulations of Companies Act? File all the documents? First of all, we have been scratching our head to find out vaccination. Upon that, you want us to file documents. Wow. Law says, I understand your problem. Make an application to the registrar and obtain the status of dormant company. And this is defined under section 455. All right. So dormant company is one which is incorporated or formed under Companies Act 2013 for some future project. You might be doing some future project or just holding an intellectual property. And if you're not having any significant accounting transaction, then you're going to be called as a dormant company. Or if you are an inactive company, then you will be called as a dormant company. Understood, everyone? Section 455. There's nothing new. We've discussed same examples I'm giving. Same examples I'm giving. I'm not even changing any of my examples. Are you there in the session? Next, yes, what is inactive company? What is inactive company? A company which has not been carrying on business, or a company which does not have significant accounting transaction in the last 2 financial years, or a company which has not filed its financial statements and annual returns in the last 2 financial years, then it will be called as inactive company. You can expect a question from this. You can expect a question from this example. All right. Lipica Private Limited has not filed its financial statements and annual returns in the last 2 years. All right. Now it wants to obtain the registration as a dormant company, or rather it wants to obtain the status of a dormant company. Can it do so? The answer is yes. It will be called as an inactive company. And the moment you are an inactive company, you can make an application to the registrar and get that status of dormant company. Understood, everyone? Now, what is the meaning of significant transaction, sir? What is significant accounting transaction? Any transaction is called a significant accounting transaction. If you're having significant accounting transaction, you're not dormant. If you're not having significant accounting transaction, then you will be called as dormant company. Understood? Understood? Everyone, Lekhana, there in the session, want me to repeat? I repeat. Listen to me very carefully. Nothing I found out. When you're not having something significant, I will call you as dormant. Yes or no? When you're having significant accounting transactions, when you're having significant, you have good amount of transaction, good transaction, valid transaction, which usually companies enter into, then can you call yourself as an inactive company? Can you call yourself as a dormant company? The answer is no. So now we have to understand what is significant accounting transaction. Every transaction is a significant accounting transaction other than the following 4. All right. If you're just doing these following 4 things, then I will not call you having done any significant accounting transaction. If you've done anything beyond these 4, then you can say you're having significant accounting transaction. I repeat, 100% focus. This is slightly a Bhelpuri topic, 100% focus. Note. The topic we are discussing is dormant company. What is a dormant company? Something like you guys, absolutely tired, exhausted. Although I have finished my office and I'm taking a session, but you guys are tired. This just shows how much we are passionate about our dream. Can I get a little energy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Enough. 8:45, I can get that energy. Yes, go down. No problem. Listen to me. Sir. All right. So what happens in case of a dormant company? In case if you are inactive, if you're not having significant accounting transaction, then you will be called as a dormant company. Understanding? Now, sir, what is significant accounting transaction, sir? Any transaction which you do will be significant. Lawmakers don't want everyone to enjoy this dormant company status. Or else what you guys will do, I'll tell you, the best thing which you will do is call yourself dormant. Why? Because I don't have to file so many documents. That's what you will do. Yes, lawmakers knew that you're smart. So they said every transaction is significant accounting transaction other than the 4. That means if you've just done these following 4 transactions in the last 2 years, if you've not done anything beyond that, then I understand you really have not done anything major. You're actually an inactive company. Then I will grant you the status of a dormant company. Understood? So what are those 4 things? If you've just been paying fees to whom? To the registrar. then what significant transactions have you done? Nothing. So this will be considered as an insignificant accounting transaction. Understanding? If you've just fulfilled the requirements of this act, you have to. You don't have an option. If you've just fulfilled what the law wants, then you have to. What significant accounting transactions have you done? This is also not a significant accounting transaction. Sir, I've allotted shares, sir. Significant shares, nothing doing that you have to, or else you can't start your company, or else you can't run a company. So that is also not a significant accounting transaction. And the last one, sir, I'm maintaining office, sir. I have my records, I have books of accounts and all. Still, that you have to. You don't have an option. You need an office, you must have records. So this is also not significant. Anything other than this, if you are doing, that will be called a significant accounting transaction. If you have significant accounting transaction, that means you're not inactive. That means you're extremely active. If you are active, you can't call yourself dormant. Understood? I hope this remains a revision and not for the first time that someone is listening to me. Understanding? Anyone wants me to repeat? Quickly raise your hands. Quickly raise your hands if you want me to repeat. Everyone has understood. All right, brilliant. Now, incorporation of company. Sir, all said and done. Just give me a second. I'll just take a sip of water. All right. Can we continue? Yes. So, incorporation of companies. All right. Now, sir, where does it come? It's coming from section 7. Section 7 says very simple. Now you've understood how to go about. Now let's start incorporated. Let's make our own children. Nothing but incorporation of companies. How do you do that? Filing of documents and information with the registrar. You're going to file a couple of documents with the registrar. You're going to file a couple of documents, and that has to be with the declaration of persons like a CA, CS, advocate, etc. By mistake, if you give wrong declaration as a CA, my friends who are going to become tomorrow's chartered accountants, listen to me. In the incorporation of companies, by mistake, if you give any wrong information or wrong declaration, Chaya, please mute yourself. Chaya, please mute yourself. By mistake, if you give wrong declaration, then it will attract a section which is the deadliest section, and I will not want anyone to be a part of this. So therefore, listen to me very carefully. As a part of your incorporation procedure, you will have to file a few documents and information, and that will also include declarations which will be given by the CA, CS, advocate, etc. Sir, what declaration? We might be saying, sir, the information is right, the information is complete, all of those things. All right. By mistake, if this declaration is wrong, then section 447 gets triggered, a separate topic which we are going to discuss in your enter. Right now, just remember that is one of the most dangerous sections. One of the most dangerous section. I have to create a little suspense so that you clear your foundation quickly and see me in inter, right? So we are going to discuss section 447 later on. Next, say a COI, issue of certificate of incorporation is to be given. Once all the documents are filed, then the registrar is going to give you your COI. After that, you will be given a unique identification number, which is nothing but your SIN. All right. Corporate identification number is given just like your Aadhaar, just like your PAN card. The same way, a company is also given a SIN. All right. Maintenance of copies of all documents and information. Very, very important. You will have to start maintaining all the information, all the documents. And the last point, any false or incorrect information given at the time of incorporation, by mistake, if you've given any wrong information, the company or the declarations, any declaration which a CA gives tomorrow, you might have clients which will come to you and ask you, please give the declaration. By mistake, if you've given any incorrect or false information, section 447 gets triggered. One of the deadliest sections in the act. One of the deadliest sections in the act. I hope I'm clear, everyone. Understanding? Have we discussed this section 447 during our classes? Write a short note. Write a short note question. Usually ask for 3 marks. Spice. Add a little spice to your life by knowing the full form of the word spice. It is simplified pro forma for incorporating companies electronically. Now, you can sit at the luxury of your own home and incorporate companies. You don't have to go anywhere. And that is called a spice. All right. Because everything can be done electronically. You don't have to go anywhere. And this is an initiative which is taken up by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs for ensuring that all the forms can be filed, all the incorporation can be done from your electronic modal itself. And that is called a spice. Do you recall? We have seen the MCA portal. I've shown this to you as well, where there is a spice option. Nevertheless. All right. Next, what is the difference between equity shares and preference shares? Now we are discussing types of shares. Shares can be of 2 types. One is equity share and the other one is preference share. All right. What is equity shares? Those which are not preference shares. Very simple. Very simple. Those which are not preference share, it's coming from explanation to section 43. Equity shares means with reference to any company which is limited by shares, all share capital which is not preference share capital is going to be called as equity share capital. So it becomes important to know what is preference share capital. Very simple. Preference share capital means you are going to enjoy two rights. You're going to enjoy two preferences, two priorities. All right. What are those? In terms of your payment of dividend. And the second one, tomorrow when the company is being closed, it's being wound up, then you will be given the first right for repayment of the capital. And these are the two important rights which you're going to enjoy as the preference, as a priority over the equity shareholder. And these are called as preference share capital. Understood, everyone? Yes. Then we go on to the next topic, which is your MOA. All right. Memorandum of Association. Extremely important. How do you remember, sir? What is this MOA? I have shown one MOA as well. We have seen Infosys MOA. Do you remember, friends? If you were there, great. If you weren't there, you can still Google. You can find the MOA of Infosys even now. So what is this entire concept of MOA, sir? MOA is the document which is going to capture my whereabouts. Who am I? From where am I? Why have I been incorporated? All of those details are captured in my MOA. So how do I remember, sir, what all is covered? NOCLAS, no class. All right, we've discussed this as well. If you recall, where N stands for your name clause, sir, what is your name? Please mention. O stands for your object clause. Extremely important. If you remember, I'd shown one of the MOAs where object clause itself were of 3 pages. Infosys has an object clause of making buildings. Do you remember? We've discussed this. A software company, instead of building softwares, it says that I will also build buildings. Now, it is a little weird language to build buildings, but nevertheless, yes. Why? Because anything beyond the object clause will make it ultra vires. Do you remember? We have discussed this. Yes. So this is your object clause. The third one is your capital clause, where we talk about how much is your capital, from where are you getting, what is your authorized capital. Authorized capital means the maximum capital that you can have throughout your lifetime. All right. This is the maximum capital. This is also called as the registered capital. All right. L stands for your liability clause. Sir, what type of liability do you have? A limited liability, limited by shares, limited by guarantee, or unlimited company. All right. And A stands for your association clause, where who all are those subscribers, the first shareholders of your company, the first members of your company who are going to sign your MOA. They are called as the subscribers, and association clause is capturing the details of your subscribers. And the last one is your situation clause, which is nothing but your state clause. Sir, where are you from? Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. Which part are you from? Please mention, and that is coming as your registered office in which you're in the state in which your registered office is situated. All right, this is about your MOA. Next point, articles of association. Now, what is this articles of association? Articles of association dwell upon how are you going to do business. MOA talks about who are you. Articles of association talks about what are you for, how are you going to do business, what all things should I remember when I'm doing business. All that is captured as a part of your articles of association. All right, so very important. 3 extremely important doctrines. Expect a question from either of these 3. Expect a question from either of these 3. All right. Doctrine of ultra-vires, doctrine of constructive notice, and doctrine of indoor management. Extremely crucial topics, 100% focus. All right. So what is this doctrine of ultra-vires? Doctrine of ultra-vires says, sir, you can do anything what you want. All right. As long as it is legal, you can do. But at the end of the day, can you do something beyond what your dad says? The answer is no. And who's your dad? At the end of the day, your MOA, all right, your memorandum of association is your dad. All right, that is the benchmark. You cannot go beyond your memorandum of association. No, sir, I will go. Go, I have no problem. Everything which you do beyond your memorandum of association or the statute, it will be considered as null and void. Just now, Indian Contract Act, you would have seen that when I say something is null and void, that is absolute zero. That has no legal validity. That is complete rubbish, and that will not be considered by law. I hope I'm clear, everyone. Yes. So when you have done anything beyond the articles of association or beyond your memorandum of association or beyond the Companies Act, it will be considered as null and void. Next point, an act which is done ultra-vires, the company cannot ratify even by passing a unanimous resolution of all the shareholders. What is the meaning of this? Sir, I've done something beyond the act. All right. Let's assume my company is into software business. My object clause is not giving me the permission to manufacture electronic vehicles. I've still gone ahead and done the manufacturing of electronic vehicles. Now I know I've gone ultra-vires the MOA. What will I do? I'll ask all the members to come for a meeting, ask them to sign and approve this transaction of manufacturing electronic vehicles. Law says, even if your members approve, even if all your members approve, I will not give you the legal validity. unanimous consent of all the members will still not go give a validity to acts which are done beyond your MOA. Important from exam perspective. Important from exam perspective. I hope you guys are understanding. I am not going to discuss important areas later. I am doing it as and when I'm discussing the topic. All right. Next point. Very important. An act which is ultra vires the directors, but intra vires the company. What is the meaning of this? Sir, something which is within the powers of the company. We are doing something which the company has done, should do. But we have clearly said, example, you should not issue a check of more than 60 lakhs. Assume you're a director. I've clearly mentioned you should not issue a check which is beyond 60 lakhs. By mistake, you've given 600 lakhs. Can the company give? The answer is yes. Company has the power to give. But you have done beyond what your powers are as a director. In that case, what can I do, sir? Very simple. That can be ratified by the members by passing a resolution at the general meeting. No problem. As long as you've done within the powers of the company, I have no problem because it is intra-vires. I hope you understand. Intra-vires means it's within the powers of the company. I have no problem as long as your shareholders are approving it. Again, examination question. If an act is ultra-vires the articles of association, mind you guys, there's a difference. Here we are talking about ultra vires the memorandum of association. Here we are talking about an act which is ultra vires the articles of association. What will I do? It's okay. As long as you're beyond your AOA, but within your MOA, beyond your AOA, but within your MOA, I have no problem. It's okay. Ask your shareholders to pass a special resolution at the general meeting and we will ratify it. We will ratify it. Did you guys understand? Yes, you've not gone beyond your MOA. What is the first point wanting you to do? Please stay within the MOA and within the act requirements of law. If you're going beyond that, then it is ultra vires. In the last point, what am I saying? Sir, you're within the MOA, but you've just gone beyond the articles of association, beyond your AO. It's okay. Get it ratified by the members in the special by passing a special resolution. Understanding, everyone? Yes, sir. You've yelled at the top of your voice. I've done a transaction which is my MOA. What? Now what? Nothing high funda. Void ab initio, transaction will be considered as void ab initio. Second, injunction order can be passed against you. What is the meaning of the word injunction order? Order can be passed by the court to stop whatever you're doing immediately. Nothing doing, stop it immediately. Example, I'm a software company. I've started building real estate parks. All right. I've started making business parks. I've started making huge commercial business complexes. Court can pass an order to stop that activity immediately. This is nothing but an injunction order. Why? Because I'm going beyond my MOA. I'm going beyond my MOA. Understanding, everyone? This is called as injunction. Personal liability of the directors. Now, till now, I've always told companies have this benefit of enjoying limited liability. The moment you do anything which is beyond your MOA and it is ultra-vires transaction, then liability of the directors will no more remain limited. It's going to become unlimited liability. It's going to become unlimited liability. And the last point, criminal action can be initiated against you. It will be considered as a criminal action and suit can be filed against you. Next point, constructive notice. If you remember, I've shown this to you on the portal as well, on the MCA portal, that articles of association, memorandum of association is a public document. Before entering, please read the documents carefully. And in case if you're missing out anything, then it is your headache, not the company's headache. Why? Because it's as good as a public notice which I've given. It's as good as mutual funds are subject to market risk. Please read the documents carefully before investing. It's something that you read or you watch, you hear. It's the same thing. My documents are available to you. Please read those documents and then enter into a transaction. No, sir, by mistake, I forgot. I was supposed to read, but I forgot. Nothing doing. That entire transaction is assumed to be done with your knowledge and you cannot now wave your hands. You cannot wash your hands out of this. Understanding? Yes. So this is the concept of doctrine of constructive notice. MOA and AOA, when registered with the ROC, becomes a public document. They can be inspected by any person. I've shown as well on MCA how to download those documents. All right. Any person who wishes to enter into a contract with the company has means of ascertaining and is presumed to know the powers of the company. All right. You should ensure that you are reading those documents. If at all you read the documents, it is good. If you've done any transaction without reading the documents, then it's your headache. It is not the headache of the company. Understood? Yes. Next, doctrine of indoor management, also called as
Turquin's rule.
Extremely important. Okay, it's given in the bracket. I missed out. So doctrine of indoor management, also called as Turquin's rule. In examination, they can ask you write a short note on Turquin's rule. Stumped. All of us stumped. Now, which one is Turquin's rule? I don't know. That's why 100% focus. Doctrine of indoor management is also called as Turquin's rule. Now, what is this? Please note, as an outsider, sir, you've given ultra vires, I agree. You've given constructive notice, I agree. There are a few internal rules and regulations which you will have, a few rules, internal policies. How an outsider will get to know about all of those, sir? In that case, an outsider can presume that all the internal policies and rules and regulations have been followed, and this is the concept of your indoor management. Simple, nothing high funda. I hope I'm clear, everyone. Understood? Yes. A person dealing with the company can safely presume that the internal proceedings have been observed and complied with. They need not inquire into the regularity of the internal proceedings. This is called as indoor management. I hope I'm clear, everyone. Crystal clear with the concept? Yes or no? Leghana, you want me to repeat? Anyone wants me to repeat? Great. Exceptions to the doctrine of indoor management. Sir, what is the meaning of this topic? Can anyone just tell me what is the meaning of this topic? An outsider cannot say that. An outsider cannot say that. Sir, this is an internal rule. Why will I break my head? It has to be followed. So they didn't follow, that's their problem. This will not be acceptable before the court in the following 4 scenarios. That means an outsider is also bound by whatever is happening internally when in any of the 4 scenarios. When he already knows that there is an irregularity, but still he enters into a transaction. That's his headache. He should not have done that. All right. Now he cannot say, sir, that's internal policy. Why will I be bound by it? No, you knew about the irregularity and now you are bound by it. Understanding? Second, sir, you have not read the articles of association. Your problem. It's a public document. You haven't read. Now you can't assume that it is an internal proceeding, so I don't have to read. No, you should have the knowledge of your articles of association. Forgery by mistake, if you forge, or negligence, any sort of negligence. These 4 are exceptions to doctrine of indoor management. Understanding? So what is the meaning of this topic? Meaning of this topic is indoor management. Sir, I as an outsider, I will not know what is happening internally. That is doctrine of indoor management. What is the meaning of the word exception to indoor management? That means, sir, even though you're an outsider, but still you are bound by whatever is happening internally if you're falling in any of the 4 scenarios. Understanding? Understanding, everyone? Yes. With this, I end Companies Act 2013. If you ask me, during a session, we have spent close to 8 to 9 hours only on Companies Act. Only on Companies Act, we have spent 8 to 9 hours. We have sufficiently or adequately covered it now in the last 1 hour. I hope each one of you have found it comfortable and able to recollect every topic. Goes unsaid, I don't expect everyone to remember everything, but you were in a position to recollect. Now, what will we do? That's it, done? No, the answer is, listen to me very carefully now. May 22 RTP I'm discussing. All right, there are a few very interesting questions. How will you attempt? That is what we are going to discuss. You can expect 1 question from any of these 3, which we are going to discuss from your Companies Act. You can expect. All right, I always find RTPs to be like an indirect question paper if you use it carefully. If you use it carefully, it's like an indirect question paper. Pick up your last attempt's question paper, compare it with 2 or 3 attempts RTP, you will realize that questions are lifted from RTP. Questions are lifted from RTP. If you've done this homework, great. If you haven't done, anyways, I'm discussing your May 22 RTP. 100% focus. Now, for me, answer is not important. For me, the manner of writing answer is important. That's why I'm discussing the RTP. Or else these are all chiller questions everyone will be able to write. Can I begin? Can I begin?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's start. I'm going to spend exactly 20 minutes on just 3 questions. Only on 3 questions, I'm going to spend 20 minutes. My focus is not on the answer. My focus is the manner of writing this answer. And this is the same procedure that you're going to follow in examination. Understanding? Guys, 100% there in the session. Let's get started. Boring? Sleepy?
No, sir.
No, sir.
One of you read the question. One of you read the question. 100% focus. 100% focus. Go ahead. Anyone?
Jagannath Oils Limited is a public company having 220 members, of which 25 members were employees in the company during the period 1st April 2006, 28 June 2016. They were allotted shares in Jagannath Oils Limited first time on July 1st, 2007, which were sold by them on 1st August 2016. After some time, on 1st December 2016, each of those 25 members acquired shares in Jagannath Oils Limited, which they are holding till date. Now, company wants to convert itself into a private company. State with reasons. A, whether Jagannath Oils Limited is required to reduce the number of members. B, would your answer be different if 25 members were the employee in Jagannath Oils Limited from the period 1st April 2006 to 28 June 2017.
I'll give you 30 seconds. Hold on. Listen to me very carefully before you attempt. 30 seconds. The clue, the answer to this question is in the question itself. The answer to this question is in the question itself. I'll give you exactly 30 seconds. Think and your answer. I don't want your answer. I want you to find out which is that hint point. I want you to find out where are they hinting that answer. All right. You will have to, I don't want your answers. Everyone will be able to answer that. I know. I want you to find out in which part of the question are they giving me the answer as well. 30 seconds. Read the question and give me your answers. Think. This is the beauty of CA course because answer is there in the question. They have already given the hint. Raise your hands if you know the point answer, and I don't want you to get the answer. Just raise your hands. Just raise your hands. Make an attempt. If not now, when are you going to do? You're just going to write your exams in a month or two. Make an attempt at least now. Don't be scared of making mistakes. If not now, when are you guys going to make an attempt? Attempt. Right, wrong, don't bother. Give your answers. All right. I'll go in the same sequence as reflecting on screen. Pradyuman, Anjana, Mehak, Naveen, Manyata. Go ahead. I don't want your answers. I repeat, I don't want your answers. I want you to just find out the hint of the answer. Where have they given the hint to my question?
Yes, sir. Sir, so in the question they have given that after some time on December 1st, 2016, each of these members acquired shares in the company.
Okay.
So my answer would be different if that if they were if from 1st April 2006 to 28 June 2017, because December 2016 will be before 28 June 2017. So they would still be employees, and I would have to reduce the number of members then.
No, but why will you have to reduce the number of members if you are employees? That's not the hint. You've just touched that, but that's not the hint. Go ahead, Anjana, quick.
Yes, sir. So according to me, in the start, they've mentioned that out of 220, 25 of them were allotted shares, and then they mentioned that it was sold by them on 1st August. And then after that, they've mentioned that those same 25 members again were allotted the shares.
Correct. So what is the problem? Where is the answer in this? This is just the facts of the case. I want the hinting point.
So, sir, in the start, they've mentioned 220 members, which is more than 200. And then they mentioned that 25 members have shares. So we shouldn't count them in the 200.
You will not count them? You will not count them for the purpose of 220?
No, we will count them, but we won't count them as extra shareholders.
You will not count them as extra shareholders. Think. You're there close to the point, but I want you guys to think. May go ahead, quick.
So it's a public company, no limit on members.
It's a public company, no limit on the number of members. Fair point. So, but the question is now they are converting into private company, right? The question is not today. The question is after conversion, should I reduce the number of members or not? That is the question. Others, any points? Make an attempt now. If not now, then when? Don't be scared of making mistakes. I count 3 and then I'm going to answer. 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead. Section 2 clause 68 clearly says that in case if I am an employee, if I am an employee of the company, whether present or past, I will not be considered for the purpose of 200 provided. Listen to me very carefully. It's not just stuck with the word employee. If I have got the shares because I am an employee or because I've been in employment, so I've got the shares. then I will not be counted for 200. I repeat the provision of law. If I am an employee, sir, present, past, I don't care. If I am an employee and if I've got shares because of being in employment, I repeat, if I am an employee, present, past, I don't care. And if I've got shares because of being in employment, then I will not be calculated. Then I will not be considered for the purpose of my 200. This is the law. The hint to this entire question is in subsection 2 or sub question 2. How? Let's read the question again. 100% focus, friends. There's a reason why I'm discussing this. Jagannath Oil Limited is a public company which is having 220 members, of which 25 members were employees in the company during 1st April 2006 to 28 June 2016. Nothing I funda, so these are employees. So ideally, I should not be considering them for the purpose of my calculation. Nothing I funda. So with this fact, just if this much was the question, can I convert? Answer is yes. You can go ahead and convert, because for 20, I will not be considering these 25 members. As simple as that. But is the question ending there? No. Wait. They were allotted shares for the first time in July 2007, which were sold by them on 1st August 2016. After some time, on 1st December 2016, each of those 25 members acquired shares, which they are holding till now. First question, is it satisfying the requirement of section 2 clause 68? Is it satisfying the requirement of section 2 clause 68? Let's see. For those of you who are counting stars, let's see. Sir, I should be an employee, whether past or present, I don't care. Am I an employee? The answer is yes. I am an employee. I was an employee. If you see, from 1st June, let's put it on a timeline, from 1st June 2006 to 28th June 2016, I was an employee. No problem at all. I was an employee. Now, what has happened is they were allotted shares for the first time in 1st July 2007. 1st July 2007, I was allotted shares. Correct? Now, when did I sell them? I have sold them on 1st August 2016. Am I an employee here? The answer is no. I am not an employee at this point of time, because I've resigned. If you see, it is clearly given. They were employees till 28th June 2016. Are you guys understanding, everyone there in the session? Yes. Now what has happened? On 1st August 2016, they have sold their shares. After that, one fine day, they realized this company is amazing. I shouldn't have sold, but I've sold it. Now I will purchase again. On 1st December 2016, they purchased the shares again. Think logically. Do you think they will get the benefit, or will they be included in 200 in the first question? Should I reduce the number of members? The answer is 110%. Yes, I will have to reduce the number of members, because now from 1st December 2016 onwards, they have become my members. They were my employees, I agree. But did they get these shares because of being in employment from 1st December 2016 onwards? The answer is no. They are just like ordinary people now. They're just like ordinary people now. Are you guys understanding, everyone? Yes. Sir, when will my brain work so much? No, you don't have to use your brain so much, because answer is here. Would your answer be different if these 25 members were employees of the company for the period 1st April 2006 to 1st or 28th June 2017? In this case, will your answer change? Now, what has happened? Instead of 1st December 2016, they have been in employment till 28th June 2017. 28th June 2017, they are still in employment. Now, will you consider them for the purpose of 200 calculation? The answer is no, you are not going to do that. Everyone understood? Anyone wants me to repeat? Quickly, do not hesitate. You know the rule. If you have not understood, please raise your hands. I repeat, 100% focus, friends. It is an important question, and I'm expecting this question in examination. 100% focus. Simple question. If you ask me, it's a very chiller question, as long as you understand the facts and the hint is given in the question itself. I came on roll on 1st June 2007, sir. I am in employment till 28th June 2016. Very simple facts, nothing high funda. I've been allotted shares on 1st July 2007. All right. I have quit the company on this date. I have exited the company. I have entered the company on this date. Are you guys understanding? Now, I have sold these shares on 1st August 2016, assume. All right. I've sold the shares. Now I'm no more an employee and I'm no more having the shares of the company as well. Understanding everyone? Understanding everyone? Yes. Now the twist to the question is coming from the second limb of the question. What does it say? From 1st December 2016, I purchased the shares again. What I would have done, I would have gone to the stock exchange and I purchased it. I am just like any other person. Will I be considered for the purpose of 200? Answer is 110% yes. You will be considered for the purpose of my calculation of 200 because you are neither getting the shares because of being in employment. You've not got these shares from 1st December 2016. On 1st December 2016, whatever shares you've got, have you got because of being in employment? The answer is no. You're just like any other person. You had already sold your shares, which you had got in employment. You've already sold it. Now on 1st December, whatever you got, you are just like any other ordinary man and you are not getting these shares because of being in employment. Therefore, will I be considered for the purpose of 200? 110% yes. Understood? Anjana? Yes. Lekana? Understood? Yes. Second question is the most interesting question. What they are saying, sir, you are not in employment. You're not leaving the company on 28th June. Rather, you're leaving the company on 28th June 2017. That means you're in employment. You're in employment now. Are you guys understanding? You're in employment. Now, if you've got the shares, will your answer change? Will your answer change? The answer is yes, my answer will change because I will tell that these shares I've acquired because of being in employment. If I make an assumption, please note, you will have to assume that I've got these shares because of being in employment. Therefore, please don't include me for the purpose of this 200 calculation. Understood, everyone? Understood, everyone? Crystal clear. Chinmay, then in the session, Sri Guru, understanding? Yes. Let's quickly read the answer, friends. Let's quickly read the answer. 100% focus. First answer, section 2 clause 68 restricts the number of members to 200. Therefore, this 225 members were employees of the company, but not during the present membership, which was started from 1st December 2016. That is after the date of which these 25 members ceased to be employees of the company. Hence, they will be considered for the purpose of my limit of 200. The company is required to reduce the number of members by converting it into private company. Nothing I found out. We have already discussed this. Understood? Understood. Second limb. On the other hand, if 25 members were ceased to be an employee on 28th June 2017, they were employees at the time of getting the present membership. Hence, they will not be counted as members for the purpose of limit of 200. And the total number of members for the purpose of this subsection will be 195. Therefore, Jagannath is not required to reduce the number before converting it into private company. Understood, everyone? Understood, everyone? Manyada? Yes. Chaya, there in the session? Yes. Chetan, understanding? Yes. Yes, sir. Crystal clear with the concept, friends. Enjoying the topic. Don't be in a hustle of giving right answers. We are in a hustle to understand the concept well. We are in a hustle to understand the concept well. All right. Next point. One of you read the question. Read the question. Quick. Anyone, quick.
A, B, and C has decided to set up a new club with the name ABC Club, having objects to promote welfare of Christian society.
Wow,
they plan to.
Brilliant observation. By now, you should have already come to the conclusion what type of question this could be. This could be a Section 8 company question. First sentence itself is more than enough to give you a clue. Go ahead, Pradyumna. I'm sorry.
They plan to do charitable work or social activity for promoting the artwork of economically weaker section of Christian society. The company obtained the status of Section 8 company and started operating from 1st April 2017 onwards. However, on 30th September 2019, it was observed that ABC Club was violating the objects of its objective clause, due to which it was granted the status of Section 8 company under the Companies Act 2013. Discuss what powers can be exercised by the central government against ABC Club in such a case.
Raise your hands and give your answers. Nothing I found out. It's a chiller topic. Just now we have discussed. Anyone, raise your hands and then I am going to acknowledge your hands raised. Quickly, quick. Go ahead, Pradyumna, quick.
So, sir, the central government can cancel its license and
go ahead.
And then ask it to use private limited or public limited company against its name.
Anjana, Bhumika, do you agree? Quick, since you've raised your hand.
Sir.
All right, please note, it's a chiller topic. The revocation of a license is coming into picture. We have just discussed. License can be revoked if you're breaching any of the conditions of Section 8 or if you're doing any activity which is fraudulent and against the objects of the public interest. Just now we have discussed. The moment your license is revoked, start becoming a normal person. You are going to use limited or private limited as the case may be. Understanding? Guys, this is supposed to be one of the most technical questions. Trust me, this is not easy, but you guys have cracked it. So please be confident as long as your concepts are right. Understanding, everyone? Yes, this is not simple. Trust me, this is not simple, but I am confident that each one of you will be in a position to write. All right, to quickly answer the question, let's see. Since ABC company was a Section 8 company and it was observed on 30th June, it had started violating the objects of the clause. Hence, in such a situation, the following powers are granted to the central government. Central government may revoke the license of the company where the company contravenes any of the requirements of the conditions of this section, subject to which a license is issued, or where the affairs of the company are conducted fraudulently or violative of the object of the company or prejudicial to the public interest. And because of this, you will have to start using the word limited or private limited against the company's name in the register. But before such revocation, very important, before such revocation, please give an opportunity of being heard. What is the meaning of this? You can't just randomly cancel. You will have to first listen. It's as good as you came late home. Will your parents smack immediately? No, they're going to give you an option. Please justify. Why were you late? Same way, I'm not going to cancel the license immediately. I'm going to give you an opportunity of justifying, of defending your case. That is what is covered here. Please note where they are going to be given a matter of being heard. Where the license is revoked, the central government may, by order, if satisfied, give in public interest, direct the company be wound up. Again, this is an important point. This is something which is additional. Please note, in case if the license is revoked, then the central government has a power to wind up the company as well. I can give an order to please close your company. I don't want you to be even in existence anymore. Next point, where the license is revoked and central government is satisfied that the company registered should be amalgamated with another company under this section and having similar object, then nothing withstanding contained in this act, the central government may provide for such amalgamation. What is the meaning of this? Nothing. I find out. Listen to me very carefully. The moment I find that you have not followed the section, I will ask you not to be wound up. Second point says, I will wind you up. Third point says, why wind up? Why wind up? Why don't you become a child of another company? Go merge into another company. Your existence is cancelled. And now you will work with the other company, which is doing its objective similar to what you have done. Understood, friends? I repeat. First point, license can be revoked. Second point, the moment license is revoked, you will have to start using limited, private, limited. Third point, the moment license is revoked, the central government can ask you to wind up your business itself, close down completely. Fourth point is, the moment central government has decided to revoke your license, they can order for you to be merged with another company. Please go become a child of another company. You work with that company. You will no more have an independent status. Understood, everyone? Nothing I found out. Chiller topic. One of you read the question. The last question for your May 22 article.
Employee Mr. Karan.
One at a time. Go ahead, quick.
An employee, Mr. Karan, signed a contract with his employer company ABC Limited that he will not solicit the customers after leaving the employment from the company. But after Mr. Karan left ABC Limited, he started up his own company, PQR Limited, and he started soliciting the customers of ABC Limited for his own business purpose. ABC Limited filed a case against Mr. Karan for breach of the employment contract and for soliciting the customers for own business. Mr. Karan contended that there is a corporate veil between him and his company, and he should not be personally held liable for this. In this context, the company ABC Limited seek your advice as to the meaning of corporate veil and when the veil can be lifted to make the owners liable for the acts done by a company.
Straight 4 marks, whoever has attended this session. Straight 4 marks if you have attended the session. Just now, forget about my past sessions. If you were just there in this session, 4 marks you've got. What is corporate veil? When can it be lifted? Nothing I found out. All right. It is a 5-marker question. You will get 4 marks only. By 1 marks are lost because you have to tell in this case what will happen. Are you guys understanding? For writing the generic gyan, you will get 4 marks. Don't worry. But that 1 mark you will not get because you haven't told what will happen in this case. Let's quickly discuss. In this case, what will happen? Based on the above provisions, leading case law of Guilford Motor Company versus Horn, The company PQR Limited was created to avoid legal obligation arising out of the contract. Therefore, the employee, Mr. Karan, and the company PQR Limited created by him should be treated as one, and thus the veil between the company and that person shall be lifted. Karan has formed only for improper or fraud conduct to defeat the law. Hence, he shall be personally held liable for the acts of the company. Simple, nothing I found out. I have asked you not to do something. All right, we have agreed into a contract itself. We have signed an agreement as well. Now, what do? You're smart. You're being Tom. What you did? You are creating Tom Private Limited and doing the same activity. Why? Because according to you, sir, corporate personality, Solomon versus Solomon company, you have only told company and the person are two different people altogether. Person has signed the contract with the company and not the company with another company. Are you guys understanding? Yes. Therefore, what have I done? What have you done as Tom? You have created another company just to avoid a legal obligation. Just to avoid a legal obligation, you have created a company. Now, the moment you have done something of this sort, you are just trying to use this company for the purpose of something which is not right, which is not legit. Therefore, corporate veil will be lifted. I hope I'm clear, everyone. I hope I'm clear, everyone. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
With this, I come to an end of this entire topic, Companies Act. Hold on, I'm not done with the session yet. Listen, don't be in a hurry. Listen to me. All right. We are done with Companies Act. Friends, 9 to 12 marks. Cakewalk. I am assuring you guys, even without this revision session, each one of you would have been in a position to get 60 to 70% of the marks of the same RTP question. Of the same RTP question which we have discussed now, you would have been in a position to get that 60-70% of the marks. Why? Because you know the concepts. It's just that maybe application here and there you might have missed out. Now listen to me. These three questions that we have discussed are case studies. How will you attempt case studies? Just randomly write the law? No. We are going to first write facts of the case, provision of law, analysis, then comes your conclusion. Though in your RTP, though in your study material, they don't follow this format. But I want each one of you to follow this format blindly. All right, the format, not the answer. The format has to be followed blindly because it makes the evaluator's life easy. And as long as you're keeping his life easy, you will get your marks which you deserve. All right. So it has to be facts of the case. Make a note of it. Quick. Open your caps material anywhere, wherever you have placed. Please make a note of it. I know you guys might be hungry, but it's the same thing even here. Just 6 minutes quickly. Let's get into it. All right. Facts of the case. First one. Facts of the case. Even before writing facts of the case, please write the below mentioned format. The below mentioned format has to be blindly used for every case study in my foundation exams. Right. It's not just limited to your law. It could be economics. It could be any other paper as well. The below mentioned format. It could be Indian Contract Act. Let's assume it's the same question from Indian Contract Act. And if you follow this format, your life is going to be easier. The below mentioned format has to be used. In every case study answer. Next line. Facts of the case. First one, A, facts of the case. Naveen there in the session. Harshita there in the session. Understanding? Yes. Uttam there. Chandana understanding. Ratan there. All right. A, facts of the case. Colon. Here we write the entire question in one sentence. You don't have to break your head. Question is already given. Just summarize that. Instead of 4 sentences, you write that in 1 sentence. As simple as that. You might get 1 mark for this. Trust me, you might get 1 mark for this as well. Are you guys understanding? Yes or no?
Sir.
Second point.
Sir.
A, facts of the case. Second, provision of law. Colon or hyphen. Here I will write the provision of law, comma. Example, if it was a question on small company, I will write section 2 clause 85 as it is. Please write down. I know you might be smart. There's a reason why we are spending time now. I will write section 2 clause 85 as it is. Next line, next line. C, analysis, analysis, analysis. Here I will apply B into A. Here I will apply B into A. I will apply B into A. That is, apply the provision of law in the given facts. Apply the provision of law in the given facts. In the given facts. Next line, next line. Conclusion, conclusion. I will write only one sentence, not stories. Please note, I will write only one sentence. Only one sentence, giving my final conclusion, final conclusion based on the questions requirement, Now, the question arises in mind is, most of you might be thinking, sir, should I write facts of the case? Should I write this phrase, provision of law? Should I write analysis? Should I write conclusion? Yes, you have to write. Write it. All right, write facts of the case and write your facts. Write provision of law, write the provision as it is. I hope you're understanding. Should I write the phrase provision of law is the question that I'm talking about? Yes, you will write the phrase provision of law, underline it, and then start writing your provision of law. Guys, this might sound funny. At the end of the day, it goes unsaid. BCom, it's all about length of the answer. CA, it's all about quality of answer. Agreed. To an extent, I agree. But if it's a 4-marker, you'll just write one sentence and come back home. Will you get marks? At the end of the day, you will still require length even for a 4-marker. How do you increase the length? These are the gimmicks. These are the gimmicks. I hope you're understanding, everyone. Yes. With this first arrow, one arrow, two targets. All right. Or 2 results. Your length is increasing. You're making the life of the evaluator easy because he knows what to read. Maybe one question which he might have read, he knows he's got comfort in the way you've written your answers. Going forward, he might just read your conclusions. He might not even read your answers. You never know. Your answers, your analysis, your provision might have been some head and tail, but your conclusion is simple, and that's what you made his life as well simpler. He might just give you marks based on that. You never know. You never know. Are you guys understanding? Don't forget the other person is a human being as much as you are. All right. With this, what should be the length of the answer? Goes unsaid, depends on the question. In this question, if you see in our question, Dikshu's question is, sir, so what should be the length of the answer? Goes unsaid. If it is a 4-marker, friends, you will have to ensure that you write at least a page. You write at least a page if you have so much content. If there's no content itself, from where will you bring? You can't bring, so just stick to how much ever you know. All right. But if there is content, please ensure 4-marker should appear like a 4-marker. You cover the important points. Now, if you are writing in pointers, that's the only strategy that I follow in my theory papers. If you're writing in points, 4 marks, 6 points, full stop. 4 marks, 6 points. Why? Sir, by mistake, my 2 points which I've written first are wrong. The other 2 can save me. By mistake, all 6 points are wrong. You shouldn't be awarded marks. As simple as that. Understood? With this, friends, I wrap up today's session. We are going to meet in tomorrow's session. I hope you guys enjoyed. All right, 1.5 hours. Trust me, I didn't even realize when 1.5 hours got over because we finished 9 to 12 marks worth of revision. All right. Tomorrow we are going to catch up and read or revise our LLPs and Partnership Act. 2 important points. Again, partnership, most of us underestimate. Extremely important topic. We're going to spend some time on finding out how to answer or how to pick questions when I know how much I've prepared. All right, based on my preparation, how should I pick those questions while writing examination? We are going to discuss that strategy as well, how much ever relevant. With this, probably, friends, all the questions I'm going to answer in tomorrow's session, that'll make everyone's life easier. Maybe I might be able to answer by even before you guys ask the question. I might be doing it tomorrow's session. So after I finish the session, I will keep the forum open for 5 minutes. All right. With this, I wrap up. Good night. Sleep well. Don't take too much tension. Breathe. It is just an examination. You've been writing exams from last 16 years. From the day you've taken birth till now, you've just been writing exams. All right. So relax. It's just like another exam. Goes unsaid. Preparation is at most important. Let's catch up, friends. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.